Thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm Laureli Shimayo, and this is MeWe Fairs for energizing body, mind, heart, and soul. We have events throughout the Northwest, many online, and today is our online awakening panel. There are 6 or there may be 7 of us on the panel tonight. We have a new theme that we've never explored before. We have it written out as distinguishing between the holistic psychics, spiritual bypassers, and scammers, and how to prepare for your reading. So it's really how to find a genuine, authentic practitioner that really will work for you, that works well for who you are, and how to distinguish between those that are just not a good fit for you, the ones that might be scammers or just not a right fit for you, how to honor that in you, and then also how to get ready for whatever the session is that you're going to be doing with them. We have it written as psychics and really applies to energy healers and just all kinds of practitioners that you might work with. And you can even extend it to vendors from whom you might purchase products. How do you choose the products? How do you choose the maker of the products that's a really good fit for you? Or the reseller of something that's bought something somewhere else? So these are all different questions that we have the opportunity to explore as we are navigating the spiritual world. So we're going to go through and describe, introduce ourselves and talk about who we are and what we are, who we are and what perspective we bring here in terms of our practice and what are all the things that we do. And then also we'll talk about the theme. So maybe everyone, if we can, see if we can get ourselves to just talk about ourselves first. And then we'll talk about the theme after that. So just introduce you, talk about you, all the different kinds of ways you work with people. And yeah, and let's see. Okay, great. All right, and I'll put information on the practitioners in the chat also. And we had a bunch of new people arrive, so I'll get the basics in here as well. All right. Well, I think go ahead. I think Kai is first, and yeah, go ahead, take a couple minutes, tell us about you and all you do, and I'll be putting info in the chat, and yeah, we'll go around.
Okay. Well, hi everybody. I'm Kai. I'm a Hawaiian Kahuna, which is the Hawaiian version of a shaman. I'm a mentor, a speaker, an author. I do a lot of energy work, and my specialty is removing negative energy from people, places, and things. What I like to do is work a lot with people as far as where they are and where they're going and answer their questions and try to get them to kind of, I guess, guide them to their own answers, really. Because that's my job, is not really telling them the answer, but helping them get the answer, because the answer is not the same for everyone. So that's primarily what I do. I like to experiment with energy because that's really kind of my thing. I look at energies not just on a macro level like universal, but also within the body itself. So I've been working a lot with frequencies and different techniques for that. So it's been, for me, it's always an experiment and it's always fun. And I like to help people to do that as well. And I'm really enjoying the whole thing about teaching and getting into what people need and how they want to move through their journey. So that's me.
Thank you so much, Kai. Troy is next.
Hello, everyone. It is lovely to be in this group. Looks like a beautiful small group tonight, and I'm excited to connect with everyone in the audience participating. Myself as a healer, I'm a quantum healer and ethereal engineer, and I specialize in working with people in the mental, emotional, but especially like the etheric and energy level on the soul, work with soul contracts and past lives, karmic healing, as well as some of my specialties are in tinnitus treatment and PTSD recovery, as some of the deeper work that I do, getting really deep into the darkness with a person and then healing that, eliminating that, and then bringing them to a state of kind of luminosity. It's a process of spiritual alchemy that and bring them back to their true self, their soul's purpose, embodying their soul's purpose, and becoming who they are again, becoming the maximum, the greatest potential that they have to offer. Just recently, what's interesting about me is I started channeling a seraphim. I think he's always been with me, but he requested to start channeling some art. I'm posting those videos on my YouTube channel, which is Troy J. Bacon. And yeah, so that's going to be an interesting journey. It has been so far. Tonight I'm offering 30% off 3 Cosmic Rainbow Reiki healing sessions, as well as offer by donation discovery sessions if someone wants to just book a shorter session with me and discover kind of like the flavor and the benefits of what I have to offer, what that's like, before they sign up for multi-session packages. And I offer by donation channeled seraphim readings and healings. And so that becomes very next level and personal, but my business is New Hypnosis, and I'm an ethereal engineer and alchemist. So thank you all. I'm excited to answer questions.
Thanks so much, Troy. RoseMarie's next.
Hello, my beautiful beings of light. Thank you for joining us this afternoon, and I'm very excited to be here with you. I am the spiritual Avisha, or the spiritual teacher for Dragon Mastery, where our goal is to help you reconnect with your spiritual self by teaching you how to become mindful in your day-to-day activities and how to use spirituality, meditation, chakra clearing to advance your life in a very positive way. I look forward to talking to you tonight about the various issues and opportunities that you have working with spiritual healers and spiritual leaders out there, how to connect with one that resonates with you, that can help take your advancement to the next level. There's a lot of folks out there, there's a lot of healing out there, and everything doesn't work for everyone. Our goal here tonight is to help you figure out how to select those guides and messages that resonate with you. I look forward to talking with you. We have one-to-one consultations, we have workshops, group events that we do to connect with you. Feel free to drop in and ask me a question. I'd love to talk to you more.
Thanks so much, RoseMarie. And then we've got Natalie and DoveLight.
Hi, everyone. My name is Natalie, and today I'll be offering both intuitive and astrology readings. I also have a great special where I will be giving a free 30-minute reading to anyone that attends today, and that expires 30 days from today. As far as me, my spiritual journey has been pretty vast. I started learning astrology about 15 years ago, and it's just taken off from then. I really enjoy explaining things to people, teaching them about the benefits of astrology, and also how to strengthen their own intuition.
Great. Thanks so much, Natalie. And you've been in the field for a long time, and I think of it as more recently that you've been working with people. Maybe it's more recently you've had the courage to really step up as a practitioner. Is there anything you want to say about that, about just your recent journey and you're like here?
Yeah, I think there was a lot of self-doubt around that, but I started to realize like there's so much that I've learned about myself through astrology. And I've had lots of friends that I've done readings for. I've done readings for complete strangers, over 200 readings. And I always get people coming back and also seeking like guidance on other things that come up for them in their life. And it's really a joy to be able to teach people how to do things for themselves and just how to tap into their own intuition, because it's truly like one of our life's greatest strengths. Thank you, Laureli.
Yeah, thanks so much, Natalie. DoveLight. Yep, DoveLight's ready. Okay. You're muted, DoveLight.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out the new Zoom. Everything changed. My honor and blessings to be here. I am DoveLight from DoveLightOracle.com. I love doing readings. I bring divine insights through the intuition. I'm just a regular person, but I can bring divine insights through tarot as well, through the elements, for any topic that you wish to receive clarification. I also do the readings to see where the energy is guiding us at this moment. It's like a soul realm frequency level of tarot, because it's not only just reading the cards. It comes, ancestors might come, people who pass away, things from the inner child spirit. It's angels. It can't tell you for sure how it works, but it's so diverse. Every single tarot reading is so diverse. It stopped looking like a tarot reading, more like a spiritual session or healing. But the readings mainly is to see where the energy is, or to get divine insights or guidance. Then I do some sessions like past life regression, ancestral healing, light of the soul retrieval. I work with the Bogle one through extractions. I do a lot of shamanic practices, as well as cacao sacred circles. I work directly with the indigenous peoples, with my elders, my ancestors as well. And that's to change the energy as well, to change it, to move it. So the readings will be to see the inside of how the energy is at this moment, and the sessions will be more like to shift them. And I just like them. I have fun, I keep learning every day with different cases and things like that. I have a special, I'm doing a free online Indigenous Wisdom event on March 24. And if you sign up for that, you can get 5 minutes with me. Just let me know you came from the Miwi Fair, and I'll book you for the 5 minutes reading with me. And yeah, I'm very grateful to be here. You can find me at DoveLightOracle.com.
Thanks so much, DoveLight. I'm Laureli Shimayo. We might be joined by another practitioner named Chosen Irons, who is a lighthouse for unleashing your purpose with intuitive energy healing, reading, and spiritual coaching. I don't think that Chosen's here yet, and hopefully Chosen will join us. I'm Laureli Shimayo, an intuitive eye reader, body psychology coach, and matchmaker. I read your eyes, read your soul. I think we all read eyes, right? There's so much missing. There's so much there. We pick up so much about each other. I use a set of archetypes to describe what I see, and I'm interpreting your soul. I want you to better understand your soul, why you're here, what you're about, and honor yourself and your soul, and do things that you love, and choose people that are really in alignment with you for whatever it is you're up to on your career path, for relationships in your life, friendships, roommates, romantic partners, just all kinds of different things. So these are different ways that I apply it. I help you grow through lessons to share the best of who you are in the world. And I'm particularly fond of romantic matchmaking. I think that it's a great way for us to have so much fulfillment in what we want, and at the same time grow through all kinds of stuff. We can choose people that really help us grow and help us be more authentic and share our best in the world, which gets us in alignment with our purpose. And I think it's better for everyone when we do that. You can learn more about me at intuitiveeyereading.com, at matchmakingsoulmates.com, and I also run all of these different Miwi Fairs events. And so excited, we're going to be in Bellevue in just a couple of weeks, so getting all kinds of things ready for that. Well, we're here tonight to talk about our theme of distinguishing between the holistic psychics, spiritual bypassers, and scammers. So really any kind of genuine practitioner, and practitioners that maybe they're just further back in their lessons, they're not as capable at the moment, or it could be that they're really out to scam you. So we're going to be talking about how to distinguish between these different people and how to get ready to work with someone, how to get ready for a session so that you get the most out of the session that you're stepping into. So we all bring different perspectives about this. There are so many different aspects of this to talk about. I mentioned earlier, this can also apply to vendors when you're purchasing products, just all kinds of different things. So we're going to go around and do one layer talking about this. It is free to be here tonight, and if you'd like to ask a question of the panel, you can ask a question on anything. It could be on the theme, related to the theme. It could be about something completely different. It's a great opportunity to get feedback from probably all of us here on the panel. It is, if you want to ask a question, 20 to 28 sliding scale, or $12 for BIPOC folks as a step of making reparations. We do ask that you pay first before you ask a question. Let me know in the chat if you've paid so that I can get you in line. So we're going to talk about the theme for a little bit, and then if someone's wanting to ask a question, we may go to that for a little bit and come back to talking about the theme. If you have a general comment, general question about the theme, feel free to put that in the chat. We're not in questions yet, so maybe there's some other things I'll say before we're actually answering questions, and I'm going to remember I'll come back to that then. I'm going to put the information on all the practitioners back in the chat again as well. There's information there on how to pay. If you have any questions about how to pay, just let me know. And so let's go around again. We can start with Kai and kind of just wind our way around again. Let's talk about the theme. What comes up for you when you think about the theme? What are some of the ways that your history and your practice, and how can you support people in making great decisions, as well as just your general understanding about this whole topic? All right, Kai.
Well, for me, I always tell people that when you're like in terms of like looking for a practitioner, like gravitate towards the one that you resonate with. Like if you walk past someone and you don't feel any connection to them, then just keep walking. Like you don't have to feel as if, oh, this is the first person I talked to, so that's the person I need to get a reading from. It's like, that's not true. Like just, I always tell people, when you're at a fair, walk around the room like 2 or 3 times, because sometimes you get a bit confused with all the energy that's floating around in the room. So make sure that the person that you end up getting your reading from, or even listening to their talk, that is something that resonates with you, that it has something that's important to you, that there's something in it that you feel you need to get, even if you don't know what that is. But it's, so it's an instinctual thing.
I just want to broaden it a little bit. Like you gave the example of walking through a fair and the first person that you see. It's the same thing when you see an ad somewhere. The first ad that you see, it's just an opening to that. It doesn't mean it's that person. It's time to investigate.
I mean, but on the other side of that, it's like sometimes when you see like a sign or something, it's literally like a sign. Like the universe is like, here's your answer. Boom. Right. But most of the time, if you're not really looking for a particular answer, yeah, then it is an opening. It's a, hey, think about this kind of deal. And you can choose to think about it or not. I mean, that's the whole thing about free will, but just keeping an open mind about it and understanding that a lot of this process is not necessarily a logical process. It's about like how you feel about it, how you react to it, what your body thinks of that. A lot of people want to spend a lot of time kind of mulling it over logically, and it's not a logical question. It's something that I always tell people, trust your gut. Like if you walk up to somebody and there's something that doesn't feel right, then just keep going. Like don't stop. Because that's your body your energy system is cluing you into something that should not be or that is not right for you. And that applies to readers, that applies to vendors, that applies to mentors. I mean, that's kind of why I wanted to do this topic is that, I keep running into people who keep running into bad mentors, like people who want to take your power away, like DoveLight was talking about earlier. And so for me, that's my thing. I always tell people, pay attention to how people treat you, what they say to you, how they act around you. If you start feeling at a disadvantage in some way or feeling like some sort of scapegoat, that's your clue to get out. Because that means that there's something not right with that relationship. And we're people, nobody's perfect. Everybody has their faults, but you need to find a place and a person that's nurturing, that will kind of guide you and help you to where you need to be, but not necessarily where they think you should be, if that makes sense. So that's where I'm at. That's the direction that I'm coming from regarding this topic.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Kai. All right, Troy, and then RoseMarie and Natalie and DoveLight.
Thank you. I totally agree. Everyone has their own path, their own intuition. Just like Laureli said, our eyes pick up a lot of information. I've realized that mine do too. When I'm reading an article, anywhere online or in a paper, something, and I'm scrolling down and I'm reading, then there's a photo of someone, I usually cannot have the photo on the page until I'm caught up to that point to look at them. My eyes are just picking up a lot of information from everywhere. And so eyes, nervous system, aura, even spirit guides and things talk to us. And yeah, it's a very individual thing. Yeah, I would advocate for sovereignty, kind of based on the last point you were making, Kai, about not doing what you think you should do or what someone else tells you should do, and avoiding the people who do place their shoulds on you. One of the first lessons that I was taught after my walk-in from the Syrian Council is to stop running my life based on shoulds and pretty much eliminate should from my vocabulary. And that has been a huge help for me. It's been a process, but liberating my view of the world, what I need to do, or what is important, and listening to my authority.
Great, Troy. Thank you. All right, RoseMarie.
I agree with this entire panel totally. We are spiritual beings and we connect each other through energy. And your intuition is the way that the universe communicates with you. When you are connecting with someone, whether it be for spiritual healing, advice, or a relationship, the first thing you want to do is keep in mind is that all relationships that benefit you should be positive. And if that energy that the other person brings to you tells you that you should be doing something a certain way, or they have a system that you have to follow, that's a great sign to run away, because you are a free will, independent, individual spirit here to experience everything. And astrology, tarot, the esoteric sciences, those are guides that we use to help influence us and help to make decisions. But primarily when you're connecting with someone, your intuition, how you feel about them, the vibes that you get from them should be positive. And if you're not getting that, or they're telling you you do something that's uncomfortable for you, or you should act a certain way, or you're not acting within a system, then you should run away, because you don't want to be in a situation where someone's trying to mold you into something you're not, or trying to push something down your throat that can't help you. If it helps you, it will be positive, it will resonate with you, and it will feel good. It will energize you and charge you, and increase your energy level. So my primary thing is follow your intuition, feel that energy. If it's negative, run as far away as you can.
Yeah, that's great. And you bring the perspective also of leading a community. And so not just an individual practitioner, but the whole community. And who are the people in a community? If there's anything additional that you want to say about that too, go ahead, or go on.
Sure. When you're representing a community, or when people think that you're speaking for a community, you really want to keep things positive and not so much on a general level, because remember, a community is made of individuals with different aspirations and different forms of expression. And so being able to appreciate the various moving parts of a community and the different personalities is really, if you run into someone that's kind of putting down a entire group community, or a group of people, or even an individual, pointing out someone's detriment, pointing out someone's negative attributes, instead of looking at those positive things and how those things can be used to change your life in a positive way. Again, you want to stay away from that, because that's the energy that they will be carrying into the universe that connects with you even after you leave. So it's real important to be in an environment, or talking with someone that's thinking positively. If they communicate about certain aspects of a community, they look at the positive aspects of that community. That's the only way that change can occur. And then you're not taking that negative energy away with you, because that will settle within you and become a part of how you think, whether you realize it or not. So it's real important to connect with someone that's spouting positive energy, positive influence, and trying to speak up a system to its benefits for you, not how you have to conform to the system.
Great. Yeah, thank you for adding a bit more. All right. I think Natalie's next.
Yeah, and I have to echo what everyone else has said. I agree with that. I think another thing to look for is, just because someone has an audience, it doesn't make them an authentic healer, an authentic teacher. It doesn't make them someone of the light. I actually have an example of where there's a spiritual bookshop that's very popular in Seattle, and I went to see an author speak, and this was a published author. And something didn't feel right to me. So I left early, and that night I actually had a spiritual attack happen. So I threw that book away. And these are things that are very common in the realm of spirituality. There's a lot of people acting as if they're of the light. I'm just using light as a word to mean authentic, and a person that is trying to help or be of the good, be of service to others. So another thing to look for that I've found when I've worked with a lot of healers and teachers is, how do you feel after interacting with that person? Has that person's energy changed you? All of a sudden, do you feel like you went maybe from the 3rd dimension to the 5th dimension? All of a sudden, do you feel more present and light that day? Are you able to flow more that day? So just paying attention to your energy after you have a reading with someone is very critical. And the last thing I'll say is, you don't need to spend $600, $1,000 to work with people. There's a lot of teachers out there that I see that are booked 2-3 years in advance for a $600 reading. And there's just so many great practitioners, and just never feel that you have to go into debt to try and solve any of your problems or get any type of healing or readings done.
Great, great. I love hearing all these different perspectives. This is great. And DoveLight's next.
And also I feel like it's also important for the people who already has been scammed or been in fraud or disappointed to honor the dark in a way can be a learning experience as a spiritual being to learn what not to do to others and to be more wiser for the next time. Many of us have come here to learn to self-love and to trust ourselves in a higher level. And sometimes we will be, I don't want to call it test, but life will put us in a situation when we're going to apply what it's like to be able to honor your truth and say no. Many of us, for whatever reason, whatever path, have learned to be afraid to say no, our boundaries. And this is very important, especially because there are many narcissists. There are spiritual, in the spiritual community. There are like everything. There's beautiful, amazing people that want the best for you to succeed. And there are people who only want your money. There are people who are actually working for darker forces and they feed onto that energy. And there are many, many, very varieties. But there's a lot of narcissistic people as well. They will come to you very beautiful, very light, very angelic. I work with the Christ, I work with this and that. And it might work for you at the beginning. And you might actually believe them, or you might put your lowest hands. But then you start, what I see in a pattern, trusting them because they have a gift. And it's not only the guidance that you're receiving, but you humans or certain people feel safer knowing, like people are afraid of the unknown. It's very normal for us humans to be afraid of the unknown. That's how we can put into practice our faith. Like we know the divine, the source, whatever you believe has your back. And it's very hard sometimes for us to open and ask trust, especially if we come for life experience when we haven't felt like somebody or something has our back. But the divine, the universe, whatever you truly love, your ancestors, they have your back. And they're willing to help you if you're willing to be open and listen. And so sometimes we need an external force to tell us, like, we know everything is going okay, or this surgery, or we know that this job is going to happen, but we start doubting ourselves to the point that we need somebody else, like outside validation, to tell us that everything is going to be okay and everything is going to be fine. And it is okay to have friends and goodwill people that will help you, but you cannot put your 1000% trust in something outside of yourself, because even though it's comforting to hear from others, your inner voice, your soul, the essence that live with you every day, your connection to the divine, that's who is with you at the moments when you're passing through that surgery, when you're going to job interview, when you're asking for what is it that you have to be in your life mission. You have to learn to know that you are important, to know that you can trust yourself. And this experience helped us a lot to remember that. And going back to the narcissistic, because there is people who are spiritually gifted, but having a spiritual gift is not equal to you have the best interest for you or the ethics. There are many psychics, many mediums, many things, they work in different frequencies and levels. So just because somebody has helped you at the beginning or can tell you things about yourself that oh my God, this person has this psychic, that doesn't mean necessarily they want your best interest or your highest interest for you. There are people who do, but I also a lot who really don't. And then later on, when they start talking about the money and the fears and the cars and the things that you feel like, wait, but I don't feel like that, you start kind of like don't know how to say no, or you feel kind of rude or bad, or I seen a lot of cases where there's people that in between, like they kind of feel like they don't know how to speak, but that is when you have to take a moment, step away from your healer, from your psychic, from your everything. Take a moment to be with yourself, to honor if that at that moment resonate with you. Trust me, you can save your life, you can save millions of dollars, you can save a lot of things just by taking that pause taking that pause to go back to yourself. Because just because a person is very intuitive or psychic, just like a person who can be very good at computers, just like a person have a gift in cooking, that doesn't mean that they're also not growing in the expanding or learning in the other ways or in their life, you know? So that is very important. If you already have passed through an experience where you feel like you were a scam or you give your power away, just, if it's possible, take it as a learning experience. Learn to forgive yourself, so the next time you become your own psychic, you become your own healer, you become a person who you can come back and trust yourself. And this doesn't mean that you are not gonna grow and experience from other beautiful people around you and practitioners, because there's always somebody who inspires us. It's just that you will be more discerner when you come into touch with these narcissists, of these people who don't want your best interests. Dark energies do exist. High vibration energies do exist. There are genuine people who can remove them, who can help you, who can guide you. That is true. But we don't want to take advantage of people who talk about those topics, but in reality, they just have an agenda to get something from you. So I just wanted to honor that. Thank you.
Thanks so much. It looks like RoseMarie's got something else to share, and I'm starting to get some questions come in the panel.
Great. I just wanted to summarize what DoveLight was saying. Primarily, you have to be responsible for your own spiritual development. You have to take time to know yourself, reflect on what it is you want to accomplish. And then when you go to somebody, have an idea of what it is your goal is. Do you want to just kind of get an idea, have somebody help you determine who you are, your individuality, or do you want someone to kind of help you set up goal setting and that kind of thing? You really have to know and take responsibility for what that relationship is going to look like. Otherwise, you don't know if you're getting, somebody that's going to take you off in a direction where it's not going to help you, or, somebody that doesn't have your best interest in sight. But as DoveLight was saying, I just want to say, take responsibility, reflect on where it is you're coming from, what you need in your life, and what you're looking for in that spiritual healer. And you'll be more likely to find one that can help you successfully.
Great, great. Okay, let's see. I'm taking some notes. So I love all the different things that everybody's sharing. So like a little bit for me, similar to what others have shared, is if, that's great. And okay, I've got two different people that have paid for questions. All right, trying to sort all that out. After you've connected with someone, do you feel more connected to yourself? Do you feel more present? Do you feel more grounded? Right? Do you feel more spacious? Do you feel more free? Do you feel choiceful? You can make choices. You might not know what choice you want to make, but connected enough to you and aware that it's for you to choose. Or do you feel, and it's not good to feel scared or pressured in any way, pressured to work with that person, pressured to do work at all, doubtful or confused? That's not helpful. I mean, talking to someone may open up some new things that you're not aware of, and may lead to some a lack of clarity. That's okay. That's why we go to work with people. But does your energy still, is it with you? And you feel like you have the capacity to make a decision, and you don't feel able to make a decision right then, maybe the best thing is to not make a decision. Get yourself settled, go out and put your feet on the ground, do all kinds of things to ground yourself and get present to yourself. Some examples of things that have not been good. I know we've had practitioners at MeWe Fairs that I have to ask to not come back that will share something's wrong with someone and then say, I have the solution to heal you. You have to spend X amount of dollars to get healed. So anyone pressuring you to like that there's something wrong and so you feel scared and that you need to spend a bunch of money, totally not okay. Chances are what they're saying is wrong is not wrong. So know that about you. And then sometimes someone selling products might be selling like counterfeit cards or something like that. Things happen. We don't always realize where we're ordering everything from, but if they know and they continue to sell them, I don't think that that's a good thing. It's not honoring the artists, right? And there can be complexity in there. Thinking about where you get various products from, like things that are mined. Are you getting it from a place where it's taking advantage of people that are in the chain of getting you something, or are you looking to buy something from sources that's really honoring people and giving them more of a livable wage and all kinds of things like that? Making the best choices that we can. Do we inform ourselves at all? It's hard when we fall in love with something and then thinking about where it's all from. And clothing I've had for years, where's that all from? There's like layers at which we can take this in our lives. There's a teacher that I used to work with that I guess one thing is if I looked at how he treated the other people in the community, he did not treat them very well. And I ignorantly in my own lessons got wound up in not treating some other people well at one point until I finally realized, oh, this is not good. I don't want to be part of this. He also used to change around his material all the time. So it's the same material kind of cut this way and cut that way and making it look new. And it's really nothing new. And it's meant to confuse people and think that they need to take more classes. Or we talked about some narcissism in the community. There are definitely people that can have narcissistic tendencies in spiritual communities that can become leaders of spiritual communities where they want to be a leader and seen as a leader, but they haven't integrated and embodied the things that they've learned. Like we can understand them intellectually, and do we have them all the way through us? So some practitioners or teachers might like do a version of love bombing where they appreciate you and praise you, and then they kind of shame you and tell you ways that you've not grown yet. There's just all kinds of things that can be done as a way of manipulating you, taking advantage of you. And so it's important that we have an awareness of these things and we stay present to ourselves, and not feel pressure. That's great. I see people are writing some things in the chat too. This is great. Let's see, does anyone else in the panel want to say any more things about the topic? And then I'm sorting out 2 people to get in line. And we have some questions. Yeah, go ahead, DoveLight.
Okay, we cannot leave this topic without talking about the fake TikTok, or I don't want to say TikTok, but the videos about the tarot card saying that your loved one is gonna come back, like the married guy who has 3 kids and 5 affairs and things like that. He was gonna come back only for you. Sometimes it's very important to understand the label of the twin flame, soulmate, things like that. I mean, I believe that we all come from the source, and we all are eventually, when we have we all have it, but we eventually are to love also as we are one. And of course, we cannot put spiritual in a tiny thing. It's very, very diverse. So there might be souls you're more closer and connected to. There might be even a soul that you might be your other half. But that doesn't necessarily mean that might be your spirit here on earth. And you have to stay attached or waiting for somebody who don't give a care about you just because of that label. Just because you can go at 10,000 readings about your lover who is not talking or texting you or things like that, that doesn't mean that just because you're having that tarot reading or just because I'm doing that witchcraft work or things like that, that person is meant to stay with you. Sometimes it's better if you have the awareness and the willingness to be open to listen what's healthier for you and step away from that situation, because there's many people who come for healings or readings to make somebody stay still in their life when it's time to honor dates. It's better to give your space and let go. Free will comes into very important energy here, because I come from different, also I am aware of different spiritual traditions where they do things to put people together with one with the other, and it never work out. They're never happier. They have to keep feeding. It's worse. So even though there is a part in the spiritual traditions where that's possible, it's never for you to be happy, and it doesn't work in a way that will make you happy, actually make you sicker and healthier. So my intention is to be aware that beyond labels of twin flames or soulmate or whatever you want to call it, please take a moment if that's the way you want to keep living your life, like in anxiety, waiting for somebody who don't care about you, or sharing your love with so many people. Is that real love? Is that true love? Will that tarot reading will really change that person for you when that person is not be willing to change yourself? Sometimes we just have to be honest. That person doesn't care about me, and I care about me enough. I care about me enough to let that person go. And this is, I want to mention it because a lot of people come to readings for love or relationship, and just wanted to honor that. Thank you.
Great. And I know one thing I want to talk about a little bit are future predictions, because there's a whole different range of perspectives, right, of how we can approach that. But Kai.
Well, I just wanted to kind of jump on what DoveLight was saying earlier, and I think a lot of the issues that result in the kinds of situations that we're talking about tonight just come from the fact that people become so desperate to either get answers or find the path or figure out what they're doing, that they're actually generating that energy of desperation, which then leaves them energetically vulnerable to all kinds of people who want to do any number of things for their own reasons. So I think that's what it really comes down to, is that you need to be secure in who you are, at least to a certain degree, to have a sort of established boundary, if you will, so that you're like, okay, well, I'm willing to go up until this point. If anybody asks me to go past this point, then I'm done. And then that way you can kind of, in others, like you have kind of like this base energy that you move forward from, that you can take steps from, but you don't allow people to like just completely absorb you. And then that, so that's that desperation that people talk about, that puts you in this position that sets you up for all of this stuff. So if you put yourself in perspective and say, like, this is where I'm at, this is as far as I'm willing to go, then that gives you a point where, that you still preserve who you are, what you want, and what's important to you, and you have that sense of free will that nobody can take from you.
Yep. So some practitioners want to be held up on a pedestal. Some of us might attempt to go get a reading where we're looking to hold all the practitioners up on a pedestal. And then an example of what DoveLight does to help people to not do that to her, you regularly introduce yourself and say, I'm a regular person, just like you, just like everyone else. So like those of us where people might have a tendency to hold us up, part of our job is to help everyone see how we're all the same, so that people feel empowered in themselves as well. And that's kind of, to me, Kai, what you're talking about. Right. Troy's got a bit more.
Yeah, kind of following the wave that Kai started. Yeah, the practitioner definitely has to also set their own boundaries. I think that's essential in all parts of life, but over and over again, I've seen clients, like when I've been to fairs, also in my meetup groups, people show up and, for example, they might assume that because I'm marketing my psychic readings and such, and my energy healings, that as a psychic, I can just like, they can place an object anywhere and I can go find it, which is not the type of psychic that I am. Very few psychics can do that. That takes actual practice, usually years of practice to get that good, to find any object. So yeah, there's all kinds of people in the world, but we just have to also be careful of sort of how we educate our clients too, in a soft way, a polite way, to be clear about what types of psychic readings we're doing, because some people have also, I think, inaccurate and confused perceptions of what a psychic is, what a healer is, what they're willing to do, and or can do for them. Yeah, that's definitely important and has been a learning curve for me.
It's great. That gets a little bit into the future predictions that I wanted to like. So do you think there's a difference between suggesting what the pattern has been, where the pattern is heading, or opportunities that we see in front of someone, versus like saying this is going to happen and having other people outsource to us, like to believe that we're the ones with the answers? So I know that the MeWe community is filled with people that generally believe in others being empowered and having choice. Like that's how we end up gathering as a community. We share enough of those values. But anyone want to say a little bit more about it's a slope and a range of like where we go with that and how we practice? Go ahead, Natalie.
Yeah, so I know that I've worked with a psychic that was highly accurate, but she saw me like working at a certain job and I ended up getting a different job, but it was still kind of the same thing. So I think if you're here, you obviously probably believe in different timelines for our life, right? So just remembering that the timeline can always change. Everything is always changing, right? Depending on what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, if you're raising your vibration, if you're following your highest path, and all of that. And then I think it was Kai that was mentioning this, but one book that I would like to recommend to people if you want to build stronger boundaries or really work on your own aura and your soul is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Eckhart Tolle wrote this book when he was completely present. So when you read his words, you yourself go into his same state of consciousness where you're just completely fully present. And there's so many great spiritual tools in that book. I recommend it to absolutely everyone.
Great, thanks. All right, let's see who's in line. We've got Troy, RoseMarie, and DoveLight.
Yeah, Laureli, when you were speaking, I thought of a little bit more just sort of examples of, I think some misperceptions, you could call them, of what people imagine certain practitioners can do. I know that when I was younger, I used to have this sort of assumption that like a shaman has supernatural powers and things, and not all of them do. Every shaman's different, but I used to put people on a pedestal who were different or had a particular background or skill. But I've learned not to do that. Yeah, seeing everyone at the same level is important for I believe practitioners and clients. Yeah, and then I think not everyone, but definitely some people, like I said, do have this idea that that a psychic, an intuitive, a remote viewer can always see into things perfectly, which is not true. Our abilities can fluctuate day to day and even throughout the day. So sometimes, quite often, I'm not always on. I have to sometimes do a little bit of preparation, make sure I have good balanced blood sugar and I'm in the right headspace. Haven't been listening to a lot of music and media to put the wrong messages in my mind. And yeah, it's a process. We have to take care of ourselves too. We're not just superhuman.
Yeah, and I'm open to learning on this panel, and I don't know if I'm right, about things. I know, like, we all experience different things as practitioners. We all see things different ways, experience things in different ways that the others of us don't. And so something might not seem like it's possible because we have our own perspective of something. So yes, it's great. All right, let's see, RoseMarie and DoveLight.
I'm just wanting to touch a little bit on what Troy and Laureli were saying, that all of us, even if you don't have the ability to heal or pull upon your intuition at this point, we're all on a spiritual journey and we're all at various levels. So when you're talking to someone and say, for example, you've connected with a spiritual teacher and you've been with them for a while, you should grow. And if it's a good teacher, he's going to expand your desire to learn more and to touch various areas, because we're all different. And because of our free will and our individuality and where we are in our own development, you might go off someplace else and your lotus is opened in an area that you didn't expect, just because you were able to go to another spiritual healer at an open position. This healer has opened your awareness and you're able to go to someone else and advance even more. If you have someone that you're working with that doesn't want you to do that, they're limiting your expression. So again, take a look at where they're stopping you from growing, because the point of spirituality is to grow in spirit. And if someone is eliminating your ability to do that, or making you feel bad for talking to other people, or if you question them, they put you down and make you think you're wrong, that's just the only thing that's happened is you've started looking at other areas of expansion. And if they can't help you with that, they may not be bad people. They may not just know. They may just be stuck in their own development. It is okay to go out and seek other avenues of interest. If you start with spirituality and you end up on tarot and astrology, that's just where your interest is taking you. And there may be a reason deep down in your soul that you're not familiar with yet, that's drawing you to those areas. It might be something that you have some experience in doing that you're not aware of yet, or an ability that you have. So don't let anyone limit your growth either. If you see yourself moving past your spiritual teacher, move to another one, because that just means you've grown. And if they are supporting you in your growth, they will encourage that, because they'll also grow as a teacher. And that's one thing, like I say, a good student, a good teacher makes a good student. And that's what you want, someone that's always learning, that encourage you to do the same.
Great, thank you, DoveLight. And then I think we're going to be going to some questions.
We can go question if we need to go questions.
No, go ahead, go ahead. I want to hear from you.
Oh, no, I'm just very grateful and honored to be here listening to all this wisdom, because I'm really a regular person. I just say that, like, about that there is something that comes into destiny and also your free will. Like, perhaps there might be spiritually people who can see the things that your soul signed up to do or pass through before you came into this planet, that you're meant to pass that, and that will be very accurate because it's in your soul blueprint. But the way that they unfold, it's part of your free will. Like, at the beginning, when I used to only read for my family members and my sister, I don't know where I get it, but I always used to tell them the future or the probability of things happening before you learn about this tarot reading, it's gonna change. Like, as if, if I read this for you, the future probability is gonna change than if I didn't read for you. And I didn't understand that, because there are so many timelines and they might change. And again, you have free will, your energy might change when you have in a reading or a healing, and you might actually, therefore, the probability or possibility of the future coming closer to your reality might change as well. So I don't believe there is nobody who is 1,000% accurate or perfect all the time. And also, even if that person is probably right, if in the case, you don't have to believe it if you don't want to, live your life the way that you want it. That empowerment, it's okay, in the sense that sometimes we're not ready to hear some truths, and that's also fine. You need time to process. This is about, again, a form of self-love. I personally did learn about this by being scammed myself many times, and also learning about boundaries myself. That's how I learned a lot of things. I was in a situation like RoseMarie was saying, I don't want to call it outgrow my teacher, but I learned so much from this reader. She's a medium, she works with angels, she works with Jesus, and I passed an amazing time the last 3 years with her. She was like a guide to me, and I really loved her so much. And the spirit guys were talking and giving me message, but I didn't want to listen. And I find out that this person was not talking so nicely about me behind my back and with other friends, because they were afraid that I was outgrowing them. I was going more out there. And when they met me, I was only in my little quiet corner. And this person talked about Jesus, and she used the name of Jesus, saying that I caused hurt to them. After I find out that they were the one talking behind my back and telling people stories that are not true. And my boundary, actually, I'm a normal person. I didn't want to lose friends that I know for many years. It hurts sometimes, the holding or pretending that the red flags are not there is too heavy of a burden, just because we are afraid to lose the person that we care about, or also because we don't want our life to change that drastically. So because I didn't mix Fatima with DoveLight, I didn't know any better. I don't want me to say my name. But DoveLight didn't know any better. After she's talked about the Jesus thing, I tell them off. I'm sorry, but my myself how do you call it, my politeness, my self filters. No, because she mentioned the Christ, I was like, you're a fake prophet, you're a scammer, you're this and that. I felt so guilty after saying that. But that was the only way this person will really stop contacting me, because after I find out that they were saying that, I was hurt, but I knew in my heart that this was for me to learn how to close cycles, It was for my benefit that my divine spirit were telling me, okay, this cycle is over. You have to move on away from them. And so even though I was hurt from a spiritual time of view, I understand that the situation was for my highest benefit to find out and to move away. But my human part was like so sad. And this person didn't want to lose me, but I knew that I will never trust this person again, this reader ever again. I will always thinking, oh, she's talking bad behind my back, or she really don't care about me. She just want to use me for favors and things like that. Long story short, this person kept contacting me after what I find out, and she will not stop contacting me, even if I block her in any place. So after she told me about the Jesus was telling her that I was hurting them, I told them off. I told them their whole life off. And that was the only way that they will stop contacting me. And I didn't want to do that. I'm not the type of person who will tell you off just like that for nothing. I didn't want to do that. I was feeling guilty. I talked with my sister about this. So when I was on my way to the airplane and there was a lot of turbulence in the airplane, you know, the person sitting next to me in the airplane, you know who it was? He looked at me and he told me, Jesus love you. He doesn't know my life story. We are not from the same religion. I mean, I'm more spiritual, but he was like a pastor, like those hardcore pastors who pray Jesus with their things and they, Jesus the Lord. I love the Christ, but not in the same way that they do. And we were meant to be together because we were praying aloud, because people were getting nervous. They were jumping out of their seat. It was a very, very bad turbulence for a long time, almost an hour. And the thing I wanted to tell you this story, it was because I'm naive in a certain way as well. I thought because this person has a gift, that she is a medium and she can communicate with Jesus, I got confused as well. That's how I learned discernment. I thought that by hurting her, I was hurting Jesus and the angels. And I was feeling even guilty not to pray to Jesus. I'm sorry, Jesus, because I have an awareness that we all have spirit guides. We all have teachers and they don't want people to hurt us as well. So I thought, oh, maybe because I told of this person, now Jesus doesn't like, I call the angels now, maybe they're mad at me. I'm that naive as well. And when I went to the airplane and this man and his wife were sitting next to me, they didn't even say, hi, how are you? Where are you? They were like, Jesus love me. I was like, what? This is a message from the Christ. And after we were praying and we land safely, I understood that we do, just because a scammer might say they're working with Archangel Michael, with Mother Mary, with whatever source that because people use the angelic names to also say their bad stuff, and that's not fair for the angelic realm. They don't have that human trait. That doesn't mean that because a person is using the name of another entity or energy, that doesn't mean that the energy or the entity of God is mad at you. That's another form of manipulation and control that I didn't understand at that moment until I passed through the situation. So this is what I say, I'm a regular person, because I sometimes I'm very intuitive, but even intuitive people are humans and we need to learn and we have spaces to grow. We're not know-it-all. I just wanted to share that, because no matter what the scammer or the healer or whatever energies that we're talking, the divine love you, your spirit guides love you, your ancestors love you. Never question that outside an outside source, because the source of unconditional love, it is unconditional love, even though for us human, it's sometimes hard to grasp it because we are so used to it, to the society, to get a reward, do something in order to get something back. I just wanted to honor that. No, sorry.
Thank you, DoveLight. Yeah, someone may mention various like beings that they might be channeling, or like God or goddess, or some way that they even might mention something like so elevated in a past life that they see in us that would have us like elevate them or trust them more. It's something that we might want to hear, and it's like it's our opportunity to discover like what feels in alignment for ourselves, what feels true, and what doesn't. And then also, I loved how you brought up like I've been kicked out of communities before. So sometimes it's where like it really wasn't a good fit and I wasn't recognizing it was a good fit, and I waited. And so the message got harder for me to discover, oh yeah, that's just not the right fit for me right now. Yeah. So Kai, hopefully it's brief and I've got to go to our questions. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to jump in real quick and just say that, we have to remember that people are people. Like, even regardless of how gifted they are or whatever. So, we all have the capacity to be jealous and petty and, all of that. And I think that goes back to what Troy said earlier about holding people up on a pedestal. It's like, we are all people. We all make mistakes. We all have our foibles, so to speak. And so it's just a matter of like who you can deal with and who you can't, and knowing what those boundaries are so that you make sure that you don't get involved with people who push your boundaries or push you into things that you don't want to do, or make you feel like you have to, or pressure you in some way. So that's really what that is. It's just like, remember that regardless of whatever they can do or can't do or whatever, that they are ultimately at the end of the day people just like you.
We're all on a journey in a human body. Yeah. Lessons. All right, great. Well, let's see. So we've got 2 people in line that I know of so far, and I'm going based on who paid first. So we're going to have Lonnie and then we'll have Michelle. So a few things before we get started. So one is, I recommend for everyone have something to scribble with, take notes. You can always do it on your phone. It's great to do it by hand, I think. Anything that shows up for you at all. When you hear a question, even before the question appears, it might be something you notice in your space or on screen, or it's a way for you to get feedback if whatever comes through you is somehow connected to what we are sharing, that we're all tapping into the same information. It's to help you open to your intuition and become a greater practitioner if this is something that you'd like to explore. Opening your intuition for yourself or to work with others or to work with others. And then also I invite all of you to learn from all that's asked and all that's answered, whether or not you are answering, whether or not you're asking a question. And then also this is a public format. And I think this is great all the time, and particularly when it's public like this and getting recorded, getting posted online. When you ask a question, in our answers, if we go deeper than you want us to go, or we talk about topics that you don't want us sharing about here, and you want us to stay over here, interrupt us and give us guidance so we honor you in our answer. All right, great. Well, let's see. So, yeah. Lonnie just keeps having more questions come up. I'm putting them all here in the notes. All right, so Lonnie, if you want to come up here on screen, I will gladly bring you up on screen, and you are first. Excuse me. Just have to turn on your video, and then I can bring you up here. Or you're welcome to just unmute. Okay, great. Here we go.
Hello.
All right. Hi. Yeah, and go ahead. You put all of your questions together, and we can address as much as we can.
Well, because this is very new to me, because my family, well, actually, my mom, my grandma, and my sister, they have a really strong intuitions, and I'm like the oblivious in the family before, but not anymore. So before I was like a people pleaser. So basically, I try to avoid confrontation as much as possible. But then now, like, I feel like I have an awakening. Now I'm more assertive, and people are not used to that. And I know things because of like, I, I I feel like I'm being guided, because for some reason, like, there's just gonna be ideas popping into my mind to like research this, research that, and then it would make sense to me, because then that's what I needed to make a decision. However, people are thinking that I'm going at a 200 miles per hour speed, whereas before I'm going on a 50, and they're not used to that, so they're thinking I might be having like an episode. So struggle is between what is the new normal, being that I am starting to be more sensitive in terms of like how do I call that, like cues or like signs, versus before I'm like oblivious to like I don't care as long as I'm comfortable, because I used to not, I'm antisocial and now I'm social. So basically it's a 360 to 360 degrees turn, and it kind of like my family is very loving family and very overprotective. So basically to the point of, I feel like it's kind of hindering my progress in some terms, because also it plays on like the culture. Like in our culture, you don't do this, you don't do that. Whereas in how I am right now is, to me, transparency is better than like hiding things just so you would look to be normal. I mean, like, to be normal in people's point of view.
Can I ask a few things? So
Just
would you say that you have the feeling of being open to your intuition right now? Do you feel open and connected right now?
yes.
Yeah, so your energy feels very grounded and very here. The way you described it, it sounds like maybe someone's worried that you might be manic or something like that. You don't feel that way at all right now. And then
Yes.
also the people that are concerned are these family members that really they liked that you were weaker before and they are really holding you back? Or does it feel like it's
They're
a genuine
not.
care and concern?
Oh, they are. Well, because I had an episode before, and it like ruined my life. So they are worried for me not to go there. So I can't. So that's why I understand where they're coming from. So I'm really, really careful in what I do. But then sometimes I can't help it because before I'm very, very what you call it, low key,
Mhm.
and I try not to make people worry. As opposed to now, if I don't have enough sleep,
Mhm.
I'm easily
Yeah, sleep definitely could. Yeah.
like I have short fuse where they're not used to that.
Well,
They're
so just yeah, so sleep, it turned like bipolar is totally connected to sleep, and they're right there's like mania where like overly positive and mania where we're negative and like quick to react in a negative way. So all those different ways that like mania can show up. And I think like psychotic and psychic, and there's like the words sound similar and there's some relationship in that, and different perspectives on what's happening. And it is important that we stay grounded while we practice. Grounded in here and connected in our bodies and connected to the earth while we practice. I think there was something else you wanted, and you asked some other questions before. Did you want to mention anything about that? You asked about someone else in your life. Did you want to ask about that
yeah,
other
because
person in your
actually
life?
it's actually quite what you call that I woke up. I don't know why I woke up, but because right now I'm in Dubai, I'm not in the US. So my time zone is different. So in my calendar, I'm not sure when like that Zoom is today. So for some reason I woke up and then I saw that there's like this thing that says like, oh, it's gonna be on. And I was like, wait, hold up, what time is it in Seattle? And then I felt like, oh, how fortuitous that something happened, and now here I am to like get because I was like so frustrated that I wanted like guidance because it's frustrating.
Well, I guess I'd say can I say who it was that you wrote about in the chat before?
Yeah.
Just you're worried
Sure.
about your husband, yeah, because you're with a spiritual awakening that you're experiencing, it's scaring him. So just being like some of the family members in your life.
Because background is I've been clinically depressed for 2 years, and I just got out of it after my birthday on November 22nd. After that is when I got out of it. And it's like instantaneous that they thought it was a manic episode. So I kind of messed up my life in 2000 after I gave birth. And everything went spiral.
Yeah. Because
So
giving
now
birth
they're
and your
wanting
sleep cycle is so wacko after you give birth and all the hormonal changes and so many things. It's a hard time.
So it's always depression for me. And there's only one time of like the mania. And I guess it scares them when I'm in a mania because in the mania, I'm very uncontrollable, I guess. And I understand that. That's why I'm trying my best not to scare them.
And I'd say my mom's bipolar and I've had some small episodes of mania myself too. Fortunately, they've not been bad. They've been short. So yeah, I just get personally what it's like. Okay, let's see. Great. We've got some practitioners ready to answer some questions for you. And I want to just reflect again. You seem very grounded and very present right now. So if you feel psychically open right now and open to your intuition, and intuition can be really, really fast, right? It's often very, very fast. Yeah, you don't seem like you're that way. You don't seem like you're manic right now. All right, so we've got RoseMarie, Kai, Troy, and Natalie all lined up. Okay, so RoseMarie, and maybe so do like 2.5 minutes. I'll sort of like let you know, and then
Sounds great.
go ahead, finish up wherever you are, everyone. So
Okay,
go ahead.
sounds great. Lani, is it Lani or Lonnie?
Lonnie. It's
Lonnie.
Sophie Lonnie.
Ah, that's very pretty. Well,
Thank you.
thank you for coming on and giving us a chance to talk with you about it. Just hearing you speak, I can tell that you have been through a lot, but it sounds like you're moving into your ego phase in a very positive way, where you're starting to say, I can, I want, I'm able. And that can be a little scary for the people around us. But because you still have a lot of love, I can just feel it. With the family around you, because that was the first thing you expressed with us, how important your family was and how concerned they are about you. We can have a tendency to let that smother us, to where we kind of hold back on our desires to achieve our own personal desires and goals and abilities, because we don't want to step on anyone's toes or give them the wrong impression about us. But you are an individual, and that can be heavy enough to deal with on its own. And now you have your husband you have to deal with. Do you have a son or a daughter?
A daughter.
Oh, that's wonderful. How old?
She's 24.
Oh, well, she's a young lady now, so you've got a whole nother set of issues to deal with when it comes to her.
I'm lucky in that respect, so.
Oh, that's awesome. But one of the things to keep in mind is the loving foundation that you grew within. Because when people start looking at you changing, they start thinking, oh, she's pulling away. And that can be a frightful thing for those who care about you, because they want to know how can they help you. And sometimes with our ego, it's up to us to just kind of shake a loose of that and achieve some things on our own. So do you have some things that you like to do for yourself that get you excited about life that you haven't been able to do for a while?
Oh, a lot.
Well, I
There-
say start with journaling and just start writing things down. As those intuitions come to you, that's the universe telling you different directions and energies that you can call upon, or even knowledges that you can pursue that will help open up a lot of doors for you in those areas. So I encourage you to listen to those thoughts that you're having and write them down, go back and review those, and you'll start to see some directions in your growth. I say congratulations on your awakening. It's a big deal and can be very frightening.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much. We've got Kai next.
Hi, Lonnie.
Hello.
So what I'm getting for you is slightly different. What I'm looking at your energy, from just looking at your image on the screen, and I'm actually hearing that part of this issue that you're having is actually because of an external source. I deal with a lot of entities, and I'm not saying that this is necessarily a thing with you, but it's almost like there are times when you feel like you are two people, and I feel like there must be time when you feel like you're missing time. Like you feel
It's more of like personality wise. I feel like I have that's why before I thought I have multiple personalities,
yeah,
because then
you're switching, right? And sometimes you feel like, well, why is this happening, or how did I get here, kind of thing, right? And it's because there's this competing energy that's there. Some people might call it an entity, some people might call it a walk-in. The way I see your energy is that at some point, probably when you're in your process of like working through your depression, and because often what happens is when your psychic energy can wake up, it's almost like it blows all the doors off. And if we don't close them quick enough, then things go, oh, what's that? and all this other energy starts coming towards you that you're not quite aware of, and you don't know what to do with. And so I think that's what I'm seeing in your energy. It's like this, it's almost like competing energies. Like I feel your energy and there's something else. And that's what's like affecting this swing that you're doing back and forth between being normal and this other thing. I mean, I'm not saying that it's not a chemical thing that can result from, your brain going through these changes or whatever, but energy-wise, you've got two competing energies that I'm seeing. And so, and it could be because of the fact that you are waking up, that because I've told this to my students, like as soon as you turn on the light, things start looking at you and wanting to come over to you. Some of it's good, some of it's not so good. So you want to, my suggestion is to just kind of figure out like what you want your normal to be like, what it feels like to be yourself. And then anything else you feel like just, you can just say, okay, I don't know what that is, but go away. Like establish that energy boundary, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because when I was arguing with my husband, a few hours ago, I was like so mad, but then I tried to like in a way not pray, in a way like call my angels or my spirit guide or something, not to let my because I'm very prideful. So I mean, like I can, like, even if I love, or I'm not even sure if I know how to like love, but because I can cut ties if my pride is hurt.
Yeah, but see that energy that's what it preys on. It preys on our weaknesses. It manipulates our weaknesses. So that's the kind of stuff that you need to be aware of. So when you notice that kind of stuff is moving to the front and you don't want it to, then you consciously make the choice to step back, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So do I, well, because I almost, because before, well, how do I say that? So this all, I guess, started when I got pregnant with my daughter. So before I thought that, because I was like so happy, positive, everything. And then after I gave birth, then I went into that, what they call the baby blues. So for some reason in my mind, I thought that maybe I got depressed because then I have this good energy, my daughter, where I was like happy, and then now it's gone. That's what I thought before, but then somebody told me like don't think like that.
Yeah, it's not her. I mean, it might have come to you during that time, but it's not your daughter. It doesn't have anything to do with your daughter. Your daughter is she's all love, is what she is for
Yeah,
you.
so
So
that's
you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, I think it was at the same time, because usually, I mean, I've heard of it happening when someone gives birth, that kind of like throws your energy off completely. And a lot of people do start getting a lot of their psychic abilities after they give birth or some other like major thing that happens with their body. So yeah, what you've experienced is not unusual. It's just that you've got something, a competing energy that you're fighting against right now that you're going to have to establish some boundaries with.
And this is Kai.
And
Did
also,
you want to
oh, sorry.
No, go back to Kai. Is there things that besides like stepping back when it feels like something's like there that maybe Lonnie, like what Lonnie would feel like is not Lonnie? Is there anything else that you describe? Like, does it feel like an energy that doesn't want to be here, or it's better to not have here, or there's some purpose?
I think it's probably an energy that is not in her best interest to have. So I think that, but at the same time, I feel like it's been getting stronger over time. And now that she's kind of aware of how it moves through her life, that it would be better for her to be able to say, okay, this is me, this is not me. you know, and when she starts to feel more not me, that she says,
Mhm.
oh no, I don't want that. And she like purposely rejects that energy from her. And I think that that will encourage it to leave her alone.
Oh, okay. So
You
is
wanna-
that more like, well, because my family were kind of exposed to like entities in like we call it like dwarves, elves, that sort of stuff. So I'm not sure because my sister can see my some of like the relatives could like feel.
Uh-huh.
Um, I got an experience before wherein I kind of hit like an entity and it gave me like some sickness or something that I have to go through like a shaman kind of person to
Mm.
like get it out. That's why before I was thinking like in my family I'm the only one that does kind of have like that ability to
No,
kind of like
you do have the ability. You just chose not to turn it on until now. And that's okay.
oh,
There's no, you know, there's not a
those-
thing where you have to say, oh, I have to get in line with everybody else. But because of that, it's also left you open to some stuff. So I think that's where this energy is coming from, is that it's basically trying to prevent you from doing those things because you've been quiet for a really long time. And it's to
mhm.
the benefit of, you know, just negative forces that you stay quiet. But now that you're waking up, it's changing. So,
Mhm.
And I'm going to mention too, your special is the 20% off your protecting your energy course. So that's the kind of thing that would
Oh,
probably be helpful.
yeah, see, because my this is what I do. This is my specialty, is I see things, I feel things, I remove things. And so, like I said, I'm, you know, like I'm just trying to keep it general, and I want you to understand that you can do this yourself. You don't necessarily need me or anybody like me.
mhm.
Just be aware of what you're dealing with, which is a competing energy that's kind of, you know, trying to compete with you for control, so to speak.
Now come to think of it, I just dawned on me because I have like crystals that my sister-in-law gave me as like protection. Like one of it is like combination like tiger eye, the eye, and like I forgot like the other ones. So basically, because in Dubai it's like so hot, sweaty, so I took all of them out, and I just noticed that when I took all of them out, that's when I had my argument with my husband. And so I'm not sure if that's connected or it just was
Let's I
oh,
think that now that you're hearing this other perspective, it's an example of how you can take this awareness and experiment with it. So
um,
utilize the energy of the crystals, utilize your own intention to say no and to have boundaries with this energy and see what haps.
okay. And then also I saw
We have
that
more practitioners who
oh,
want to answer too. So sorry, we just gonna,
sorry.
yeah. Is it okay if we just go around? So I know we've got Troy, Natalie, and RoseMarie that want to share with you.
I thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Troy.
Hello, Natalie. So I've been picking up a lot. I have one question for you to start, and that is, do you feel like you belong here on this planet, or do you feel like perhaps there's somewhere else that you are homesick for?
No, not really. I just feel like I'm like a free spirit. Like I can be anywhere and because before I they did like a past life read on me. I was a man and I was like really good at what you call that like doing stuff like with gardening, like royalties come and see me because of my work. And then I also was like a dancer instructor, and I think that was like so basically um like in my mind like things are it feels like in my mind like there's like suggestions that's coming in my head that what if it's this, what if it's that sort of thing. So my confidence level is getting better, and I'm less doubting myself. However, it scares other people because then they're used to me being submissive. I'm like, I'm low key, but then now I'm more like, I'm drawn to like um, tiger, phoenix, and horse. What you call that? Because well, my husband has this business. It's called our team is Red Phoenix, and then I'm Year of the Tiger, and it's like a wood tiger. So I don't know about the horse part though, because for some reason I'm drawn to horse.
Okay. Do you feel that those are your spirit animals too?
Possibly.
I feel that they could be.
Because I'll show you something. So this is like a phoenix. So
Mhm.
before I was drawn to like always like a blue and red, like hot, like fire and ice. So before I thought I was the ice and my husband was the fire because he's passionate and I'm more like I don't care type of person. I'm like cold. But then now it seems like I'm the fire and he's the water putting out all the fires that I've been making throughout
Hmm.
my journey. It seems like
Is he putting them out in a maybe pleasant or unpleasant way, more or less?
because he is my rock. Because the way he stuck with me, I don't think a normal person would have done it with everything that I made him go through. Like if I was him, I would have kicked myself out like a long time ago. I wouldn't put
Mm-hmm.
up with it.
Okay. So after you got on this this group, I started hearing things from my guides, mostly angelic guides, and I was asking, like I was trying to tune into your energy and just sort of seeing what would come through. And similar to what Kai said, I sensed that there was something else. Um, and when you were saying that you were feeling much more kind of what is it, exertive and fiery and more expressive,
Mhm.
especially since your birthday after your daughter was born. Um, I asked my guides if you're a walk-in, and they told me no. I asked them a few questions about that, just because a lot of your points in your case that you're describing match up with walk-in symptoms. And some walk-ins happen after a birth, usually after some sort of trauma or shock. Um,
Mhm.
I'm a walk-in, and um, the way walk-ins, like it's changed over the years. It used to be that walk-ins would happen usually within an NDE or a major traumatic event, um,
Mhm.
sometimes in a hospital or something like that. But it seems that, and I don't have this exact, but it seems that approximately around the 2000s, perhaps, there's been a shift probably with the earth, and walk-ins have been happening in a much more um, less traumatic way. Um,
What is a walk-in?
so a walk-in is a soul exchange, and yeah, a lot of people ask that, and I should preface that more, but a walk-in is a soul exchange, and that has to happen only by soul contract. You can't have
Oh,
a walk-in be a possession. A
mhm.
walk-in is always for the greater good and wellness and being of the individual, usually
Mhm.
improving the person. And so I have all my walkouts memories, but I've become a bit different with my walk-in soul and who I am as a soul. There are different kinds of walk-ins. I'm a full exchange, but there are other types of walk-ins called jumper walk-ins, which are like a soul that seems to be compatible with the natal soul, but it sort of comes in and out from time to time, sort of swaps in and out, kind of like observing this world, but coming from another world. But then the person doesn't have memory of what happened during that episode. So that's kind of a jumper walk-in. There's a braided walk-in. Also, infusion walk-ins are similar, but more like a soul aspect, like from the higher self or
And Troy, I want to
another.
help you just get more focused on your answer of like focusing on what's directly applicable to her. And I think
Yeah,
you've got some podcasts on it, right?
I do. Yeah, I actually some on my YouTube channel. I think I have that on New Being Hypnosis YouTube channel. I think it's a two-part series called Numinous, the story of a Seed Walk, and I'm gonna probably do another one with updates. But yeah, I've talked about walk-ins before. There's lots of other videos by people on YouTube on walk-ins and what they are, and books too about walk-ins and by walk-ins that I've read. So the subject is out there. It's been happening for a long time. But basically, what I got from my guides about you is that you're not a walk-in. You are what they I haven't heard this before, but they called you a wake up, which is more like a part of your soul, the more like the masculine, divine masculine part of your soul that they said woke up after this birth event. Similar to how a walk-in happens, but it wasn't an exchange or something else coming in from another source. It was more like a dormant part of you, more like the masculine part of you that woke up from within. And so you probably weren't used to that before, but it's still, I feel, kind of a conflicting or fluctuating energy because you haven't fully integrated with it. And after my walk-in, I had a lot of confusion about who I am and what was happening. I had various attachments and entities and stuff that I would pick up, and I had to go through months of integration, many healings with a psychic walk-in healer who, by distance, cleared those things out and helped me reintegrate with my spirit, my purpose, my more of my divine masculine, and it's still a learning process, but yeah, it's a process to go through sessions like that, and that's something I offer too with Reiki sessions and hypnosis sessions. They kind of go hand in hand, but helping people integrate with things like that and integrate with more of their true self.
Because one reason I noticed before, like when I was depressed and I was trying to like, because I'm very, I plan stuff. So when I was depressed, I want to end it all. I went through the process of like, I don't want to end my life wherein I might survive. But then later on, like in my mindset, like, no, you cannot take your life because then you'll go back to square one. For some reason, that's the thing that's going in my mind. Like like your challenge is not to kill yourself. For some reason, that's always something that comes to my mind. My challenge is always not to kill myself.
Yeah, and the idea with a walk-in is that you get to continue to use this life. This life continues to get used. It just gets used in a new way. I'm not saying that that's what's going on, but that's what it is about. So let's see, we've got more answers for you. Sorry, I just got to be careful because we've already spent a bunch of time here, and like we want more questions that we want to answer. So yeah, we just got to watch that we don't cover too broadly. So I think RoseMarie's next, but I think someone put their hand down, so I'm not quite sure who's next. Oh, Natalie, were you next?
Yeah, sorry, I
Okay,
didn't mean to take my hand down.
All right, go ahead.
Lonnie, I'll be super quick. I overheard you say your birthday. Did you say it was November 22nd?
Yes, 1974.
Okay. So have you ever looked into numerology before?
Yeah, actually, I was like looking at it, and then well, because my sister-in-law and my sister, they're more like sensitive in those. So my sister-in-law is the one that told me like, 1122 is very significant. So because she sees that I'm in like the depressive mode, like I think it's you're still processing, she said, because she said like 1122, it's very significant.
Yeah, so in numerology, any double numbers, because you can really only be an 11 or a 22, right, for a birthday.
Mhm.
So it's considered a master number. And basically, you are mastering this lifetime. So you have a very important mission. And I think that's probably why the depression is coming up for you. I looked at your life path. You're a life path 9, which is the humanitarian. So you have this ideal view of what the world should be like, and the world does not look like that. So if you're
Mhm.
waking up and you're not feeling like you're living your life's purpose, you're going to have this depression, because depression is there to propel you to seek out what you should be doing, right? So you just saying, I'm having a spiritual awakening, I applaud you for that, because this is the first step of the process and you're already here. So you're doing wonderful. You do have an important lifetime, and 1122 is not just granted to anybody. That is a master number. So you're here to learn, you're here to dive deep, you're here to understand yourself, the people around you. You're learning to heal yourself, so then you can also teach others. So remember that really this life is about healing. And right now you're going to be in a personal year 5. So year 2024 is a personal year 5. A year 5 is all about positive change. It will feel tumultuous, so you're going to see changes happen. For example, I was in a personal year 5 last year, and I was finally in a relationship after being single for 4 years, huge change. And I was laid off from the company that I was with for 15 years. And it turned out to be a huge blessing. So just expect very positive changes this year. It may feel a little tumultuous. Make sure that you're doing whatever you need to do to keep yourself grounded. Next year, you're going to be in a year 6. It's going to be very grounded, very level compared to this year.
Oh, very real quick question, because the house we're renovating right now, I actually hate that house. It's my parents' house, and then since my parents already retired, we bought it. The house, the address is 22011 24th.
Say it one more time.
2011
Okay.
24th Avenue South.
Do you realize
So,
that's 1122 backwards?
yeah, so I was thinking that's my birthday. Like 22 is the 22nd, 11 is November. I don't know about the 24th. But to me, like I hated that house before, and like right now it's renovating, and I'm kind of renovating myself. So to me, it's kind of like significant. So, and then this is one of the things my husband and I was this arguing about, because then they're not used to me taking in control, because I hate responsibilities
Yeah.
before.
So, Lonnie, sorry, we just got to go on to more answers. Yeah. Thank you, Natalie. It's great to have all the different perspectives. Yeah. All right, RoseMarie.
I'll be very, very short. I agree with Natalie and Troy. However, I just really want to point out that spiritual health is tied to our mental health. So we live in a duality. We have positive and negative energies that flow within us. And sometimes the things that happen to us push us on that negative side, and it's hard to pull ourselves back. But you really want to some severe aspects of that is one, either being in the clouds and everything is wonderful all the time when they're not. You're not looking at the true aspects of what's going on and your head is in the cloud, or you see things in an overly severe manner. And so the goal is to maintain a balance. And you have described yourself with the tiger and the horse. That's expression and spirit. You know, the horse represents free spirit. And so once you found yourself in a place, well, you had already been putting yourself aside and what your desires were aside. You found yourself in a situation to where now you had to give up your life to live a life that was an ideal for other people, not yourself. So what I recommend as a tool to kind of get back into who you are and find balance is to meditate. There's a couple of different ways you can meditate, but a purposeful meditation would be to develop an awareness of yourself. And there's gurus and so on. I can help with that. I do spiritual counseling as well. Help you decide to really connect with who you are. And there's other meditations that you can do to help kind of find a direction in your life. How can you express yourself and be free inside? Because that's where we feel trapped. You know, we feel trapped inside that we can't express ourselves with the people around us, because you've said over and over and over again, you don't want to make your family concerned because you want to express yourself. There's things you want to do and you're afraid to do. And that in itself is enough to destroy the fire within. And that's what that phoenix represents. The phoenix is the fire of who you are. And if you can't express that, that phoenix has to die and come back. And because you said, no, this phoenix is going to live, I have the spirit to express this fire within me. I recommend you look at ways that you can do that, that celebrates your family as well. That way they won't be as concerned, and they'll eventually begin to change because they'll see that you are brighter and happier. And that's what they want for you for sure.
Actually, they say that they prefer me like this than when I was depressed. However, they're afraid that I might be uncontrollable to the point of I would be what should I call that? Messing my life or something, because then I wouldn't be listening to reasons again.
Well, ask for guidance and you'll be taken down the right direction, and they'll be able to see that. So don't worry.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, RoseMarie. All right, any other answers for Lonnie? All right, well, thank you so much, Lonnie. You brought really great, rich situation. We're grateful to be able to be supporting you. So thanks so much for jumping in and asking a question.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I will, soon after you get off, I'll put all the practitioners' information again in the chat if you want to reach out to anyone, some of the different specials, etc. All right, let's see. So I think we've got Michelle up next. Oh, Michelle. Okay, great. Here you. Michelle, what is your question?
So I just, in the last 4 years, began this self-care healing journey. After living with untreated PTSD for 40 years, in a domestic violence situation for 37 years, people pleasing, always taking care of others. It got to the point where I did not know who I was after a while. And being raised in a church, I always thought spirituality was something that was taboo. So I fought that battle for a while. But now I know that my crystals, my lotuses on my arm, my butterflies in the color of the chakra, they are all a part of who I am. September 29th, I'll be 64 years old. And I say this, the life that I had is gone. Everything that I was up until 2020 is completely gone. My life is totally different. It's a blessing, absolute blessing. But I have a purpose. I think I have a purpose. I mentor veterans and first responders like myself who have PTSD. And it's something I love, but I don't know if that's really where I should be. Because I still wear masks sometimes. I still don't feel 100%. Like I'm worthy of being able to give to people. So my question would just basically be, am I where I need to be?
Great, great. I'll jump in and share a little bit here as we're, hands are going flying up. It's great. So sometimes we take steps towards our purpose. And it sounds like this is an example of a step towards your purpose. You've gotten into a position where you can help and support other people. You're using the things that you've learned, and you're in a situation where people aren't as open to all of the gifts that you have. and all of the ways that you can support people. So it seems like the thing to do is to be reaching out to other communities and other people that are really interested in your crystals and the butterflies and all those kinds of things, so that you can start to experience yourself in that realm. And I think that your gifts will open and expand more as you're doing that. And that'll set you up for transitioning so that you're working with a different group of people. It sounds like you're hugely of service right now and really supporting people. And that's so good. And I want you to continue to be on that journey of helping other people wake up and come to trust themselves and be grounded in living their lives in a way that's honoring and true of them. So it sounds like you're definitely in the direction of your purpose, and there's more.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, great. Let's see. We've got RoseMarie, DoveLight, and Kai in line. Go ahead, RoseMarie.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi.
Welcome to the Senior Next Life Club. I love it. I just celebrated 63, and I tell you, I feel more excited about life than I ever have. But a part of that was learning what self-care meant. Because for most of us, that means getting some sleep, eating right, maybe a little exercise. But we're more than that, and we really, after we've lived our life a certain way, accepted certain things that other people have given us to ourselves, we begin to think that's who we are, or we have brought that upon ourselves. And the truth is, yes, we have to a degree, because we've allowed certain things to come in our life and we felt that that's what we deserved until we felt that we couldn't take that anymore. But what does self-care to us really mean? It means knowing what our ideal is, what excites us about who we are. And that kind of helps us be able to choose the direction that we connect, how we connect with other people, the jobs that we select to do, and the service that we give other people. Because we live in relationship, and when relationships are good, we feel fantastic. But when relationships are bad, we tend not to feel good. We don't want to go out and talk to people, and it drains our energy. But if we don't know what that ideal is, we kind of get tossed from left to right. So I'm excited about the fact that you're focused on your own self-care, but I would ask that question to yourself. What does that ideal look like to you? What do you see yourself doing? What excites you about helping other people? Because one thing that can happen is we start doing things, we think it's what we want to do. I want to help somebody, but then we get drained from doing that. We don't feel fulfilled from doing that. So it's a direction that you can take, but ask yourself what in that excites you, because it may take you in a whole different direction, or you may be called to do something new and exciting in the industry because you're coming from a whole different aspect of what the ideal looks like and how you can help. And it also helps you to grow inside. So we only have a couple of minutes, so I can't take a lot of it, just all the things I'm doing, but counseling others, that means you care for people, but you're still on guard. That's why you're wearing the mask. That's why you're holding yourself back and you're not pushing yourself out. So I would say, and I'm a big one on meditation and so on, because that's where we connect with ourselves on that inner spiritual level to know who we are, what excites us, what we're made of. And then you're able to go out and deliver that to the world and express that individually, the way you see it being delivered. So I love the journey that you're on, and self-care is definitely a way to connect with yourself.
Thank you.
All right, great. Let's see. Next is DoveLight.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. There's one of the most beautiful parts in our spiritual journeys to acknowledge that we care about ourselves, self-care, and that's really important. Just by shining yourself, when you take those moments to be with things that you love and bring you peace, and to be within that frequency, you naturally change that in your energy field to others. Sometimes we just need to be with ourselves, and by being connected to our true light, so that this energy of love, we are already changing people. We are already, just by being in the same room. Sometimes we say stuff which is important, sometimes just by being there. They're telling me that everybody has a value. Even my dog is like, sorry about that interruption. Everybody has value. Everybody's important. They're telling me the failure, if we understand that a mistake is only opportunity to learn. Just because we are in a spiritual journey, that doesn't mean we're perfect. So you might not be perfect, might not have to have everything resolved or have everything right. I'm seeing definitely that there is a big transformation where you have to learn about leaving things that you truly love behind. And that sometimes make you confused about what's going to happen in the future. But know that the empathy that you are gaining at this moment, it's exactly where you become a person that can relate to the people that are helping, especially with the PST. Like, you know what it's like for them to be there, and you know what it's like to doubt yourself. You know, you will not be in that place unless you feel called to be in that place. So you were meant to be in that place, and you are meant to follow your divine guidance in your own heart. They're telling me that just don't question that you have to be in a perfect place or have everything resolved in order to help the souls, because what you have is the empathy to know what it's like to be in the doubt, especially in that path journey. They're also telling me that do not feel like you're betraying yourself for not putting, I don't want to call it like an imaginary standards you're meant to be at this moment. That's an illusion. Even a baker doing their cupcakes, being happy and giving it to people or kids or selling it, is already fulfilling their mission. Everything that makes you happy, it's part of helping others, part of being in this planet. The animal kingdom, they're also telling me that you, if you choose to do so, if you resonate, you have a special gift with animals, you could do something related to animal communication or animal healing or helping animals in foster shelters. They're telling me that there is a part, if you choose to explore that, there will be helping you towards develop another parts of your spirituality if you're open that in any point and moment view. But just trust yourself that you are meant to be where you're meant to be, and in your divine connection to whatever you call the source, that you will be guided to where you need to go, because you have a relationship, prayer and meditation. And if something needs to be removed, it will be for your highest and best interest. Okay, let's stay at the present moment. Thank you, and sorry about that sound.
Thank you.
Thanks, DoveLight. Next, we've got Kai.
Hey, Michelle. What I'm getting for you is that, you asked a question about, am I where I'm supposed to be right now? The answer is yes. You are needed right where you are right now. The position that you find yourself in is crucial in ways that you don't even begin to understand. Because every person that you speak to about PTSD and all the people that you help with your service affects other people. So right now it's like, you look at it like, oh, I'm just dropping a rock and I don't know if it's actually doing anything, but you've actually dropped the rock in the ocean and it's rippling out and will continue to do so for years. So where you are now is just the beginning, and as far as what you do next and where you go next, it's, we always keep looking for a destination. And in this life, the end destination that we're going to get to is when we all go back to God or source or whatever you want to call it. Until then, we're on the journey. And so you will keep evolving as time goes on. Like, you may decide, okay, maybe I don't really want to do this anymore. Maybe I'll go in this direction. Like DoveLight said, maybe you'll move towards animals. Who knows? It just depends on what you feel like doing when the opportunity presents itself. But it's not something you need to worry about.
Okay.
Enjoy where you are right now. Like, work with the people who need you right now. And that's all that you really need to worry about. And as far as like, wearing a mask all the time, we all have to wear masks. It's just like just as long as you're aware that it's a mask, and when you can put the mask on and take the mask off, and who you can be yourself with and who you have to wear the mask with. That's the difference. Because some people get confused and they think that the mask is them, and then they lose complete sight of themselves. But you're not at that point. You are aware of the mask. So just as long as you have people around you that love you for who you are without the mask, you're going to be good no matter what.
Great. Thanks so much, Kai. Next, we've got Troy, and I've got a hungry dog in the background. I may not be ready right now. Let's see. Why don't we go to Natalie if you're ready?
Yeah.
To Troy.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Natalie.
I heard you say your birthday. Was it September 29th?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, perfect. So I don't know if you follow astrology or not, but basically there was this 15-year karmic cycle that was happening for all the cardinal signs. And the cardinal signs include Libra. It's Libra, Aries, Capricorn, and Aquarius. So what I want to tell you is that the road forward will feel a lot easier. You'll have a lot more flow and ease in your life. You did go through a lot. You went through a huge transformation, something that most people will never experience in their life, right? And it makes sense that you're in the line of work that you are in now, and you absolutely deserve to be there because you can empathize with people at that level that they're at. The other thing I wanted to mention to you is that you're in a new year. So you're in a year 1, which is the beginning of a 9-year cycle. So in numerology, we go through 9-year cycles, 1 through 9. And right now you're in your year of new beginnings. So what I see happening for you is probably a change in career. I don't know if it would be working for another company, but I see probably more pay coming through when you make that change. So just keep your eye out, keep your LinkedIn updated, have your resume ready, because I think something new and big is going to be happening for you this year related to your career. And let's see if I had anything else. And I think that's it. That's all that I have for you.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks so much, Natalie. All right, Troy, we're going to come back to you.
Okay. Sorry, I had to step away. My dog needed her dinner. She wouldn't let me sit here. So my guides were recommending that you ask yourself every single day, where do I want to be and what do I want to do? Just simply ask yourself those questions. And then after you ask yourself, just sit with yourself quietly for a bit. Listen to your heart. Listen to what you feel, what your heart says, what comes out. Perhaps journal about it too could help to clarify thoughts and get that down. Just do that every day. It can be a daily practice, so then you get more and more answers, more and more clarity on where you want to go every day, what you feel like you want to do with your life based on maybe where you're at, what you've done, if you want to utilize a skill you've had in the past, or if you want to learn a new skill. Ask yourself about those. My guides also said that you'll need to do some age-related self-exploration, which I get the sense they meant by sort of exploring yourself all over again, connecting with maybe groups and meetups and people similar to your age. Doesn't have to be your age, but connecting with people of similar interest, especially, and exploring more of what really makes you happy, what you feel called to do. I was asking them what skills or what abilities you may have that you might be able to explore. I heard psychometry. I don't know if you've done that before, but that's like the more tactile empathy of feeling the energy of objects and reading objects. It doesn't have to be that, but maybe that could be a gift. That's just what I got. And they also said that you don't have any needs as to what you need to be or what to be. You can just be yourself, express yourself. You don't need to tell yourself that you need to be a way or should be a way or that your future should be a certain way, but just explore and find what you love.
You're right on target with that one. My authentic self. That's where I'm at this point in my life, learning to be my authentic self. And if that means putting boundaries in place and possibly, I can't control how other people feel about the boundaries I put in place. The boundaries are for me to protect my peace at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. You're right about that.
All right, great. Troy, is there a little bit more? Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I believe that we each deserve our sovereign inner peace. And that can be solitude if we feel that's right for us at times, or just simply being everything that we are around others and being at peace with that, not being afraid that we might step on their toes or offend someone. That's not our fault if that happens, but we just can only be what we are.
Great, great. All right. Thank you so much, Troy and RoseMarie. Oh, and Natalie put another one in the chat. Natalie, did you want to just read that out and then we'll go to RoseMarie?
Yeah, I think something that might help too is just like if you're struggling with a day at work, and you feel like maybe you're not making a difference, just remind yourself, I work for God, and say that out loud and just take that to heart, because that can really transform what happens for you.
Right.
Thank
And
you.
in whatever way that's meaningful. Yeah, I work for spirit or whatever. Yeah. All right, great. RoseMarie.
Just real quickly, I just wanted to remind you that when you opened up initially, you told us all the things that you went through yourself personally with an abusive relationship and so on. So you always want to remember what you've been through, what you've learned for that, and remember to celebrate yourself. Healing is a long journey because it's a day in and day out fight against those energies that kind of held us in the past. So remember to celebrate yourself, love yourself, and at least once or twice a day, give yourself a hug, or do something for yourself after you've given away all of your energy all week, being there for others. Remember to recharge yourself, clear your chakras, maybe go to a Reiki healer to help you energize yourself. But remember, it's important to celebrate yourself because you too are going through a lot. You're helping a lot of people. But once you feel energized and good within, you'll be able to see what the opportunities around you are and put a new slant on them, for example. So say, for example, you stayed in this industry, you might be able to bring your crystals and so on and your knowledge of those to help others find a spiritual connection with themselves. So once you're connected with yourself and you celebrate yourself and you love yourself and you're raising that energy in yourself, it's so much easier to express and find ways to connect with other people that helps them as well. So I love talking with you. Okay.
And for me, that's exactly where I am right now. I've been retired for quite some time, and I just started I fly at least once a month all over the United States with different nonprofits for veterans and first responders, because I am a veteran and a first responder. So I understand wholeheartedly the PTSD, the major depression, and anxiety. And what I get is your aura lights up a room. When you walk in a room, there's a feeling that it cannot be explained. And I know that. I know that I'm very intuitive with certain things. I can feel the good things, I can feel the bad thing. It's just really, and I never understood what it was until I started this journey. So for me, it's all about learning how to work through and take the time. I do take the time when I go on these retreats. Sometimes the retreats are 8 or 9 days long. But what I do is I come home and I isolate myself. I sage myself, and then I isolate myself from everybody, because I have to re-energize myself, because I've just taken on, as much as I try not to, you just take on other people's stuff. And so I have to come home and be able to just isolate and heal myself again, so that I can go back out the next month and do it all over again. So everything you guys have said has really confirmed. And I was here more for confirmation, but I didn't want to say that, because you don't like to be specific. So I just wanted it to be something that to confirm to me what I already know.
Well, as intuitive, you may be a healer as well. So that might be something you want to look into as well.
Thank you.
Great, great. All right. Anything else for Michelle? Thank you, Michelle, so much for coming in, for being with us and knowing you're part of the community.
Thank
right,
you.
great.
And Troy, you're right about that. I did have my Enneagram and Clifton strengths. I'm an empath all the way through and through.
Yep. Great, great. All right. Thank you so much. All right. And I think we've got Todd in line also. Todd, are you ready to come up?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can. All right. Do you want to turn on your video and then I can bring you up here, or do you want to ask from?
Yeah, I don't know if my OBS is working right now as far as videos. So.
Okay, great. Yeah, then you can ask from there. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. You can put the picture up, though, whatever you want to do. So
I can't though. I need video
So,
on I think, in order to bring it up.
oh, do you? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So I actually got kind of scammed about a week or two ago by a practitioner, and I was actually looking for a sound bath class in Miami, and I called the place, and I guess the place that this person was putting his sound bath for the night was like, oh, you need to get a reading. There's something important here or something like that, and and I did get scammed all the way to the reading. And then during the reading, I was like, okay, this is feeling a little bit like um, uh, an unnatural expiring pull. Like things are expiring. The things that I'm saying are expiring, you know? So, an unnatural pull toward the person rather than an inward, interested in aha moment kind of pull towards something else. And then they did the upsell, and I was like, oh, there it is. And I was like, shoot, that was a waste of money. And I should have known when I was doing the payment that she was very much like, I could feel it. But anyway, it was like there was like a speed thing going on. But anyway, so other than the actual being scammed by somebody in one of these situations, what is the factors that you think are involved in a personality flowing into that scam? And I think for me, I think there's specialness that's kind of touched there, kind of like I have special information for you, or you're special or something like that. And then there's the wanting to be understood, or heard or something like that, or wanting to, I guess, this is kind of having a connection as well. So I was wondering, I mean, you can't know until you get into that spot where they're like, okay, there's the upsell, but sometimes, but you can know in a little bit in advance. But how do you fight the specialness that comes up? Because earlier I said also that it's not just people that I get this from sometimes, it's also the spirit world or whatever it is we're talking to. I don't know what it is yet. Source, different spirits, different things, all this stuff. And when you're ill, when you have psychosis or manicness or depression or whatever, it's hard to balance what energies are what. And there's also the specialness that comes in manicness, and then there's the in depression there's the I just want to shut down and go away. And I wonder if anyone can speak to that specialness, especially in manicness, where the voices are also giving you that time pressure and stuff like that. And do you believe these voices come from inward, or are they learned stories over time that have embedded in your brain and stuff like that? So I'm going off on a tangent, but I feel like, in summary, I get this from both sides, from the physical world and the other existences that we experience as intuitives, and it's hard to navigate those two things. So what do you have to say for that? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's great. I don't remember exactly when you showed up today. We talked a little bit about narcissism and how someone can want to be special themselves, or they can love bomb you and hold you up like you're special. So
Right.
those are both narcissistic elements. And great, DoveLight's got, so we've got Natalie and DoveLight have hands up. And I also just thinking immediately about more of like Kai's area about different energies that might be here, right? So different energies and different entities and things like that. So it's part of it is discerning of who's speaking. All right, let's see. So we've got
Yes.
Natalie, DoveLight, and RoseMarie in order. So Natalie's first in line. Go ahead.
Hi, Todd. So I know for me, like when I've heard directly from spirit, it kind of feels like a bubble. And it's usually been information that wasn't available to me. And they just kind of let me know. Sometimes it sounds like it's external, but it definitely just kind of feels like a bubble in the sense that it just kind of comes out of nowhere, right? And it's not like a message that I'm like internalizing or something. I think you've asked a very good question, which is a question that's on everyone's mind. Like, how do we discern between the mind and, you know, what is truly spirit? Like, what is us and actually spirit talking to us? And I think one of the best factors is, okay, well, am I rested? Have I eaten something? Am I well taken care of? Because I tend to get, like, sometimes I'll think I'm getting a message, but it might not actually be a sign from spirit or spirit. And it could just be, you know, me not taking care of myself. And I don't really know how to explain it any better than that. But that's just kind of how I've, like, if I know that I'm very grounded, then I'm getting the messages and I know it's definitely spirit, right? And then I agree with you, like what Laureli said about the narcissists. Like I've seen it firsthand. A lot of these teachers that charge these crazy amounts, like you said, the person in Miami, you know, just got you on the phone and was like urging you and rushing you. That's never a good sign, right? So any type of like rushing or urgency around that, now you've kind of learned that, right? And a lot of us have had to learn going through those experiences ourselves. I also don't like when teachers default to one storyline. This is the way it is and it can't be any other way, right? That to me is an immediate red flag. Like that's the red flag of spirituality right there. Like if they're saying my teachings are the only teachings, my way is the only way, and this is the way it is, I just, you know, that's not one to listen to. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much, Natalie. Next, we've got DoveLight.
In many indigenous cultures, we consider thoughts, spirits as well, or energy. It can be considered good or not so good. And one of the teachers of Dr. Luis Melmedrona, which is Cheyenne and Lakota, he's my elder in my elders' elders. He's also a doctor, and he works with a lot of people who has mental illness as well. And he explained to us, he taught us that the difference between a person who can be psychically open and a person who needs help mentally ill is that the mentally ill most likely will not be able to stop the boss to tell them off or no, they will just be in continuation listening and doing it. While for us, we have to remember that we have the power to say no. Sometimes we do, sometimes angels and spirit will give us message and we feel the easiness and we'll do it. Or sometimes we feel like message from other times we choose not to listen to. So what I'm trying to say is that no matter where the voice is coming from, it can come from your subconscious, from your childhood, it can come from the spirits, from Jupiter, from whatever. Just know that you have the power to say no, or you have the power to listen and based on that choose to have the action. But it's in the moment to stay present and breathe and be aware. The moment to be conscious about what is that you're choosing to do with information, if this information will be for your highest good, you know. So that is very important, because we can hear voices even from imprints. You might be in a room and you might start hearing voices of the energy that was there, like people were fighting or things like that, or might actually be a person if they need help, like a ghost, or might actually be your inner child, you know, getting a reaction or a triggers, because those things can come literally from anything or anywhere in the energy field. The recommendation will be to always take a moment to go within, to have that conscious listening space, safe space to understand where is it coming, or what is the purpose of what it's trying to tell you, and therefore choose if you wish to follow or not. Like when I came to this country the first time, I was in a place that was not so nice with me in my own head, but I didn't know English, and I start hearing like bad words in my head, and I have to literally remember the words and Google them to know what it was about. So I knew that I learned to differentiate that those were not my voices, those were not my child, those were like dark, low entity spirits that were trying to talk to me to get me influenced because I was not in a good emotional state at the time of my life. So that's how I learned to understand those things as well. And when it might be different for everybody, but when I hear the divine talking to me or messages, things like that, it goes beyond my logic. Like my mind, it's like a feeling, like the energy feels like clear, or it's like a thunder inside my head, but not because it's strong, it's because of the way that it comes. So, but there is no doubt, like when I personally, in my personal experience, when I feel a message coming of guidance or divine, it feels more like clear, like there is like a sense of peace that there is no doubt about it. Like, you know, it's more like in the soul than in the mind.
Thank you, DoveLight. All right, RoseMarie.
A lot of the spiritual healers might not appreciate when I say this, but I just want to be clear that we all have voices in our head. We're talking to ourselves all the time. We're communicating our past. We're talking about our fears from the future, the desires and the wishes, all of that kind of rolled into one. But when you know it's something that is to help you, it's positive, it's encouraging, and it's moving you forward to being more of who you can express yourself to be, who you want to express yourself to be. Those negative energies tend to take you back and hurt you. When you're working with someone, the first thing I recommend is do your homework. You know, if they say, I have a class online, go on their website, check them out, find out who they are, what they talk about, if they have any testimonials, you know, what their experience is, what they're talking about on their website. It kind of helps you get familiar with who they are and what you can expect. Also, what is the energy from their site trying to tell you? If you're, some of us are aware that we have intuitive abilities, but for most of us, we just get a feeling or something else. Listen to those, because if it's telling you, no, something is not right, like you said, that she was just taking you down a path that just didn't seem right, and then she verified your concerns when she said, you know, you need to sign up for this. And so, Todd, thanks for doing your picture up. I really appreciate seeing you. So that's your intuitive feeling saying something is not right. And you probably could have gotten that when you started doing the research. But as she was taking you down that path, your intuition was saying, your mind was saying, those little voices in your head was saying, no, this is not right. She's going to take me where I don't want to go, and I'm not going to get what I'm here for. You can kind of feel those out, and it's okay to say, no, I don't want, you know, this isn't where I'm going. This isn't where I'm feeling myself to be right now. And then go and search out others. But doing your homework and listening to those voices that are positive and that are taking you where you want to be. And if it's an energy that's not positive, ask yourself, what is this energy trying to show me? Because that intuition that you have will answer those questions for you. You'll start to feel things, or your hair will start to stand on end. But those are the signals. That's the universe telling you, connecting and communicating with you. So learn how to appreciate those. And then when you feel it, it's not right, ask yourself, what is it trying to tell you? And I think you'll get better success finding the guide that you could work with to achieve what you want to attain. Okay?
Yeah, it was a mixture of FOMO and wanting to please people, because I think it was FOMO, and then it was like I'm engaged in conversation with them. I can't just like get out of it now. And then when she did the upsell, I hit that barrier that whoever said that's my limit, and I'm out of here, you know. And I told her, look, I'm sorry that I'm doing this, but I'm just not into the upsell and the pressure, and I'm gonna have to check
Absolutely.
out. So
Absolutely. Hopefully,
But it took me $100 to get to that point.
Ooh.
So
yeah. Well, hopefully you got at least a little something out of it to help you with the
yeah.
next consult that you have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to encourage you too that like we can end things in the middle of things, even when it's not like the socially
Yeah.
appropriate thing to do. We can just say, "Oh, I realize something's not working for me right now," and I just said for you too, it's like having enough people to socialize with and connect with, and enough community, and right, so that it's easy to let go of things that don't
Well,
fit.
I'll do this to them next time.
That's
That
like,
means
yeah,
stop.
exactly, right,
It
the
does
rock
work. It
turning,
does work.
right, the rock turning. All right, great. We've got Kai and Troy. Thank you so much, RoseMarie.
Hey Todd, as far as, the whole thing about the hard sell and all that, people do that in the real world because they're trying to make money. Like this is how they make their living. And so for some people, like, they live off of that upsell. Like, let's do the next thing. Let's see if, how much money I can get out of this person. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's done in a malicious way. Some people really do want to help you, but they still need to pay their bills. And so they kind of adopt this sales technique for it. But it's up to us in the real world, under any circumstances, regardless of what it is, to like say, okay, I've had enough. And if if you happen to be talking on the phone with somebody, you can just say, I really gotta go. Like something's burning, or somebody's at the door, or whatever. Like, come up with any kind of excuse. You don't have to justify not spending that money. You don't have to give them a reason why you don't want to engage in their services or whatever. You can just hang up the phone, just like when a telemarketer calls, just hang up. Like there's nothing they can do about that. That's your choice. You have your boundaries. Part of having a boundary is defending it, respecting it, not letting other people run over it. And and as far as like if you're hearing voices in your head, it's for me the bottom line is it telling me something that's helpful and good and nurturing?
I've trained them. I mean,
Yeah.
I've trained them to behave. So and
Well,
now
and
it's more beneficial unless I'm in the deeps. Then it gets a little harder. So
yeah, we'll see. And that's what it comes down to. It's like as long as it's good and positive and makes you feel good and drives you towards something positive in nature, then it's good. So it even though it would be nice to be able to say, well, is that me, or is that the universe, is that my ancestors, is that the angels? I mean, you can dig into that a little bit later if you want to, but overall it's like, is it good or not good? Does it make me feel good or not? If it doesn't, ignore it. If it feels good, then consider it. I'm not saying follow it, I'm saying consider it. Look at it, think about it, see how it makes you feel. And if it's something that you're like, yeah, I think I want to do that, then you move forward. Everything is in your control. Everything is at your discretion. There is nothing and no one that can make you do anything you do not want to do. You have control the entire time. Don't forget that.
yeah, I think sometimes when you lack the control, it's because you forgot that you had it. Yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, so just remember that whenever you feel like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do in this situation. Remember, you always have control of it. Take control at any time and do whatever you feel is right for you. If you need to hang up, hang up.
All right, great. Thank you, Kai. Troy's next, and then I'll share something more too.
Okay.
Oh,
few things. I do love what Kai
sorry,
was
Troy.
saying.
Just before you get started, I want to check. So Natalie was saying you've got to leave right at 7:30. So Natalie, I just want to give you a chance to share about who you are and how people can contact you. And that way, if you've got to take off before Troy's finished, you've had a chance to close out.
Okay.
And I'll put your information in the chat again too.
Sure. So for anyone that's joined the panel discussion today, I'm offering a free 30-minute reading between now and April 16th. You can contact me on Instagram, or you can send me a text to my phone number, and I'll reach out to you to schedule something.
And all that's in the chat. So if you're here today, you've got access to that information. Natalie, just share again about who you are, what you do. just all the different things you do?
Yeah, so I am an intuitive. I also do astrology and numerology. If you are interested in astrology reading, we could fit in something really quick in 30 minutes. I would just need to know your exact birth time. We could pull up your chart and look at the transits for the year. Yeah, and then I've also done intuitive sessions for over 200 clients. And I've done for friends, family, strangers. I really enjoy working with people. And I look forward to anyone that might reach out.
And thanks so much for jumping on the panel with us. I think you're just getting experiences being in our different events. It's great having you. All right. So thanks so much for the interruption, everyone. So Troy, go ahead, back with Todd.
Okay, so as I was saying, I do agree with what Kai was saying, that as the customer, you have the kind of the authority and the right to say no, and to just say it's not for you and be honest about that and back out. As a hypnotherapist, I cannot count the number of clients who've come and gone who some would book a session and then realize my services aren't right for them. My services are not right for everyone. They're kind of specific and for certain types of people who are ready for what I have to offer. And I actually used to be in kind of an inner pattern of victimizing, basically, of assuming that I was doing something wrong because they would go away and they wouldn't come back. But I realized that that's just how business is. And so you don't need to feel bad or anything about being one of those clients if their services really are not for you. But Ted, could I ask you, did she actually give you services that you paid for, or was it more like
Oh, actually, it
a
was very
scam
good.
info call?
What she did was very good. She was very she was intuitive. But it was a whole leading up to it was very much like, oh, I got to give you this information and you got to know this, you got to know this. And then on the payment Venmo, it's like, here's my thing, and kind of like very antsy and stuff. And then afterwards at the end was I really think you need to do this for $250 because it's going to help you with this. And a little bit more pressure when I said no pressure, no pressure. And then finally, I'm sorry, this is I appreciate your skill, and I really enjoyed the reading, but I'm gonna have to say no on the upsell. So that's how it went down. And I really think she was intuitive. I think she had good information to say. She, like Kai was saying, she was a fine person who just probably needs to pay the next bill. So yeah, and maybe she's letting that override her intuition of her just being more connected to the individual. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like maybe they're not completely transparent. I like to be transparent about my services and just have people
Right.
pay for what they want.
It's just one more thing. I think she said she was in this for like 3 generations. I have found the last one I got scanned by in 20 years ago was also a 3rd generation, kind of like in the family, kind of like not 3rd generation, like more like I want to say the people who travel around. But anyway,
Yeah.
that was like, you have to get these candles. 20 years ago, we have to get these candles and do this thing because you've got this evil spirit in you and it'll never go away. And oh, I don't see it ever resolving unless you do it today. You know, kind of like, yeah, okay. So I ran out of that one 20 years ago. So I was a
Yeah,
little disappointed about this one that I kind of let it get so far. So
I'm getting the feeling that this person had like a trade secret, ways that they were trained in,
yeah.
of doing this sort of service, or giving a service and then getting asking more for it, and
Right.
kind of like a trick almost, but it sounds like a trade within a family. And so I would be wary of that. But there's also something that I'm learning about called business funneling, which is when you do it right, it's perfectly legit, and the the person gets a lot out of it. You give a lot of value to the client usually.
But it's spirit
But
centered and heart centered the way you deploy it, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
normally
it's different.
business
Yeah,
funneling should be pretty, like you actually get what you're paying for,
right.
but at first you're pitching the offer
Right.
sort of
It's like
thing.
if I went to a yoga class and then they offered a healing touch class. That's like a totally fine upsell. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. So I guess I'm just about out of time according to Laureli. I don't know that anybody else has their hand up. I could keep talking a little bit. I have
If
more to
there's a little
say.
bit more you want to say, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and just finish up from where you
Okay.
are.
So I did get some things from my spirit guides, and it was mostly about sort of law of attraction and law of resonance stuff. We're constantly all manifesting the people and the things and scenarios that are in alignment and in resonance, compatible with what is inside of us. And so they were asking me to ask you, saying you could work on learning greater discernment, perhaps of a business or a person and what they're pitching. Um, and this sort of goes along with the law of resonance, but sort of learning your boundaries and conscious about what you are feeling that you need, what you're feeling that you want, um, what you're interested in, the kind of healers that you want to align with, and your self-talk too is a part of that, of um, being willing to do anything or being willing to do certain things, being willing to work with certain types of services, being clear about what you actually want within yourself. And just like you said, you attracted two of these third generational practitioners, possibly subconsciously. And that's sort of how the subconscious works. It's a mechanism. Once there's a belief, a pattern, a thought, belief of what you're worth, belief of what you'll attract, belief that maybe they have something to offer, something good, you'll attract the same thing. I've known people who attract over and over dramatic scenarios, people who attract a friend who then betrays them, stabs them in the back, that they have to leave, or leaves them for some reason. Um, you attract everything that you believe that you are worth and that you're going for. So my guides recommend that you start thinking about that, what you seem to be attracting to yourself, even if you're not aware of it or if it's accidental or subconscious. It's still all a pattern. You probably accidentally or somehow put those patterns in you. Maybe some of your beliefs might be ancestral too. That's something to be aware of. It's a lot to learn and be aware of, but it's also what I've learned in life. They said that you can ask yourself, what part of myself attracted this to me? Ask yourself, what part of myself might have attracted two of these third generational trickster or gypsy healers? And
Gypsy, yeah.
yeah, gypsy, I think is the right word, but this applies to anything else that you may be repeating in your life or something like that. Ask yourself, what part of myself is in alignment with that, is in resonant with that, has not learned a lesson or can learn a lesson from this. That's what my guides are recommending. And the other thing they recommended is to, just like I think it was Laureli said, to prepare before a reading, prepare your discernment for a reading, look into their background, their website, look up reviews for the person if they've had a history of doing this, or if they've had a history of certain events, or pulling other scams that people may have posted online. So that's what my guides recommend.
Great, thanks so much. And I want to clarify too that gypsy itself is not a problem, just people that are not as conscious
No,
and
it's
not
just
doing things that are
certain
in our best
ones.
interest.
Yeah, certain ones.
Yeah.
not across the board. So,
Yeah, and
yeah.
I'll say a little bit just about internal voices. So if I think back to like a time I particularly was in hindsight was manic, right? I realized as I was kind of coming back down that that had been manic, and it was just a few hours. And the ideas that I had that came in, they're things that had my energy be like swirling and swirling, and it was fast and they were going and swirling. Whereas when I have an intuition and something that's an idea, it lands, and then I have a spaciousness that opens around it.
Okay.
So it's very different, the feeling that I experience. You know, so sometimes the thing will land and my system is, oh, a new context. But there's definitely, there's pause and spaciousness afterwards. There's a way that what shows up is, you could say, like, is my system aligning to see if it's true, or what is the new context now that it's here? So it's very different than the internal voices of mania. So yeah, looking for what is the context of how you experience the voices, and certainly so many at one time. Yeah, trickier, I think, different voices. Do you have ways that you ground yourself when you have more activity of more voices?
When I'm really sick, I use mantras. And when I'm mediocre, I usually just don't really pay attention to it much. I don't have insight so much into it right now. But I know it does happen, and I realize afterwards, hey, I was a little manic there. But usually if I'm excited with some people and friends and family or something, that can raise my energy levels and stuff like that. So yeah, and definitely I don't really feel the impact of it, because I think while I'm manic, I must have insight-based thoughts or source-based things. But for me, this manicness is kind of overlaid over that experience. So it's like it more like gets me excited. And actually in manicness, there is a sense of like I get secrets from the universe, secrets of the universe when I'm manic. And I don't know what that voice is, but obviously that's not a healthy voice because it gets me more manic, you know what I mean? And yeah,
Yeah,
so
the tricky again of like how we can be open and how we can like
it's so tricky.
being
It's
manic,
it's
being
like
open. Yeah, what's good and what's
I
not
feel
good
like
and
I'm
what shows
trying
up.
to pinpoint, well, that's that voice, and that makes me do this, and that's that voice, and that makes me feel this, and this makes me resonate this way, and this makes me say yes, this makes me say no, so
Yeah,
um
and
yeah.
maybe I say more specifically, the voices or the stories that were showing up for me during that one time. It was, oh, I could run that business, and I could get this, and I could do this, and this person could do that, and
Oh
I could do that,
yes.
and like, so yeah, so it's
That's
definitely
the one
it's
where we're like, hey, I'm gonna make 10,000 more next year. Oh, I'm gonna make 100,000 more the next year. And now I'm the president of the United States. And now I'm the president of the Galactic Empire. Like whatever. It's like
but it's something
crazy
that
stuff,
takes me
right? So
off the direction of my purpose.
right,
It's
okay.
something that I
Which is
could
like
do.
much more
It,
grounded.
it could even
Which
be
is
a
much more
reasonable business
grounded.
idea, but it's not in
Yeah.
alignment for me, and it's got me
Right.
going.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, okay.
yeah, as opposed to here.
Yeah, okay.
All right, let's see. RoseMarie's got a little bit more, and then yeah, we'll be closing up shortly, and then something else I knew. Well, okay, there's something else to say. All right,
All
great.
right. Well, I know that we are done, so I'm going to be really quick, but there are techniques for quieting the mind, and it's very important that we take time to do that and just shut out everything else and then bring back into us a little at a time what we want to bring forward in our life, what we want to be conscious of. But just going to work and dealing with people can send you off to where for days you're caught up in an energy that is negative and aching at you, and you're trying to figure out why you're going through this, and you hate everyone, and you're beating yourself up because you're going through this energy again, and it's showing itself in ugly ways, and you don't have any control of it. Those are the times where you want to become conscious of those thoughts and really take a moment, sit down, and really go through the process of quieting the mind. And it's going within. It's a simple process, but it can be difficult. They usually call it the dark night of the soul, where we feel lost and trapped and getting information that doesn't help us. So sitting down with yourself, reconnecting spiritually within, connecting to that quiet space, finding a place where you don't hear anything, you don't have any feedback coming from anywhere external, and quieting the mind. And then, like I said, seeing why it's bringing that negative energy to you, what you can get from it, and how you can use it to move forward. Because we go through those pretty regularly. Just in dealing with people, relationships, jobs, and the energies that you get from connecting with people. So it's real important to take a few minutes to quiet the mind. And Laureli is going to post my information, but feel free to drop me a line. I'm happy to talk to you a little bit more about sitting down and taking control of your mind and focusing that energy to help you in a positive direction. I'm really happy to do that.
Yeah, and I want to say that awareness is one of the most important things. So awareness of when it's happening, and then there are all kinds of objects you can use to help ground your energy, and going out and standing on the earth, and there are just so many different things. So yeah, mantra, totally, like having hyper focus on something that's calming and soothing in that way, that gets your mind focused and that is healthy. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, all kinds of things. So maybe one thing I want to share too before we do our closeouts, Lonnie asked in the chat, has MeWe ever had some scammers? And like, yeah, of course, we definitely have. So in the beginning, I used to talk to everybody before I let them in, and we're so big now, I can't do that. So I do invite people to do interviews and things like that, marketing interviews, and I get a chance to meet them. I'm learning that if anything feels weird in the interaction on the way in, that I need to listen to that, and that there's some problem. I want to be open and give people opportunities to, and not be so biased as what I think is like the right way to be. For example, I've had people that I realized were doing the things of making people feel scared and pressuring them to buy big packages. And I've had it happen where I noticed after the fair and I have to negotiate refunds for people. When it comes up now in the middle of the fair, I realize, and I'm thinking of a fair where I recently pulled someone's booth apart and met them at the door when they came in on Sunday with their money to have them leave, and they could not stay for the next day. I just had someone write to apply who I haven't talked with in years, but I interacted with her maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, and the energy did not feel good. And so I don't know if she's going to apply. She might not apply. If she applies, I have to address that, because my memory is that that's not a good fit. I have information on the agreement form before people step into the community that makes it really clear what our values are. And there's a number of things that can bounce people out where they realize it's not a good fit for them. So I take all kinds of steps to see what and who is a good fit for the community. And there's a particular container that I aim to create. So yeah, people aren't staying for a consultation. Yeah, so Lonnie might want to meet with someone afterwards. There might be one of the practitioners that's available tonight after a break. I'm going to put everyone's information in the chat again as we're checking out. But yeah, so that's something, Lonnie, to check out with everyone individually to see if they're able to do that. We don't do private sessions here at the panel. We only do that at the fairs. And we do have more events coming up. I posted those in the chat a little while ago. I'll just mention again briefly. We've got a practice circle coming up on Friday, March 22. We have an online fair where we do private sessions with people on Sunday, March 24. We've got another one coming up on Saturday, April 20. I just added another panel on sound healing coming up. That's in May. And then we're got some in-person fairs coming. We're going to be in Bellevue, March 30, 31 in the Seattle area. And then again in the Seattle area, BEPC is an organization that I volunteer at. We're going to have a fair in Kent, Washington. That's the largest in the state of Washington. That's April 27, 28. And then we'll also be in Seattle again in Linwood, May 4, 5. And then we head back to Oregon again. A lot going on this summer as well. So we're going to have everyone in the panel check out again and share again about who you are and how people can reach you. You're welcome to share your special, and I'll be putting your information in the chat again too. So maybe if people are available, let's go in a different order. We can go backwards. So DoveLight, and then maybe RoseMarie and Troy and Kai. DoveLight, if you're ready to jump in. All right, great.
Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Thank you to all the practitioners and to Laureli for allowing us the space to be here together, grow together, and learn together. I hope that whoever see this recording will resonate with it, and we help them to make a more conscious decision when doubting or feeling weird or bad or not so nice energy when looking for a reader or dealing with a reader or a healer or anybody who does any type of services, to trust and honor yourself. I'm DoveLight from DoveLightOracle.com. I still have the special. I have an online event on March 24 with Indigenous Mayan people about Mayan cosmology. It's free. And if you sign up for that, you can have 5 minutes with me. Just let me know you're coming from the Midway Fair, because it's only for the Midway Fair community special. See you soon.
Thank you so much, DoveLight. All right, RoseMarie.
It has been a wonderful evening as always, and Laureli, I always thank you for a wonderful opportunity to meet with other practitioners and the community and just talk about all things spiritual and how to connect with ourselves. I offer at Dragon's Mastery, we offer one-to-one consulting on spirituality as well as group events and live in-person opportunities to get together. We have products that we've put together to help people bring spirituality, meditation, and so on into their daily life to show them that it's not a formal process that you have to go through. Yes, ceremony does help with setting up habits and things to look forward to, energies, and so on. However, the important thing is to just begin. Start where you are. Don't worry about trying to connect with anyone on any particular level. Come honestly, come wholly, and you will connect with the person that is truly there to help you. My website is adragonspath.com, and I have a chat bot. If you want to just come on and chat and see where you are and how I can help you, I would love to talk with you more. So it's adragonspath.com, and we have a chat bubble. Just pull it up, and I'll be happy to talk. Thank you again for joining us.
Thanks so much, RoseMarie. Troy's next.
Hello, everyone. It has been an honor to speak again with everyone, the practitioners and the participants. My name is Troy J. Bacon of Hypnosis, and I'm a spiritual alchemist and ethereal engineer. And what that means is just like how engineers are required for buildings and large mechanisms to help things run and fix things when they break, I am a healer who helps people fix their spirits, clear up trauma, heal their inner issues, break through their challenges and beliefs, reprogram, then recover their soul's purpose, their true essence, who they truly are. That's spiritual alchemy. I specialize in PTSD recovery as well as tinnitus treatment. I'm also running 2 meetup groups right now. One is Starseed Psychics, Angels, and Walk-ins, which spells spa. I do Monday at noon telepathy practice circles, and that is for anybody who wishes to learn telepathy as well as just practice it every week. We can do it every single day, of course, and all the time, but it's just a space to practice telepathy and getting a little bit better at it each week. I'm also running Hypnosis and Reiki networking community, and there I do a free talk about hypnosis or Reiki topics every week. Free presentation, usually interactive, sometimes with regressions and mini healings, as well as the New Being Soul Spa in that group on Tuesdays at noon Pacific Standard Time, and that is primarily tapping for the body and energy body, some integrative qigong, as well as a soul star portal treatment. That's one of my signature healing techniques to really give like a nice cleansing of the body and mind, to restore your spirit, connecting with your spirit, and really be refreshed. And we can do that every single week. So those are on meetup.com.
Great, thanks so much, Troy. Next, we've got Kai.
Hi everyone, thank you for coming tonight. Appreciate that you decided to spend your evening with us doing this. I enjoyed the questions, and I always enjoy listening to the practitioners give their views on different things. It's always a learning experience for me. I am Kai. I am a Hawaiian Kahuna, which is the Hawaiian version of a shaman. I do all the standard shamanic things, talk to the ghosts and subtle spirits and all that stuff. I also do a lot of energy healing. I'm an author, I am a speaker, I'm a mentor, and I do a lot of Laureli's MeWe fairs in person, and I enjoy them every time. If anyone's interested, I'm gonna go ahead and post my website to the chat. you're welcome to certainly jump onto my website, and I've written a bunch of different articles on lots of different topics that you might find interesting, just to kind of help you on your journey, whatever that might look like. And I also have a 20% discount off my Protecting Yourself with Energy audio course that you can also get to from my website. And you know, put in the discount code in the checkout box and you'll get 20% off and learn how to protect yourself with energy shields. So thanks for coming tonight, everybody. Appreciate your time.
Thanks so much, Kai. And I'm Laureli Shimayo. I'm an intuitive eye reader, body psychology coach, and matchmaker. Read your eyes, read your soul, and answer questions about your soul purpose, your path, your lessons, relationships that you're in, help you find relationships you want to be in, whether that's for work, for personal relationships, romantic relationships, all kinds of different things. You can find out more about me at intuitiveeyereading.com, matchmakingsoulmates.com, and about all of our events at MeWe Fairs at mewefairs.com. I'll put my information in the chat in a moment. I put information in about all the other practitioners on the panel and about our upcoming events. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here and for listening. We deeply appreciate you being here and allowing us to have panels and have community experiences where we all learn together. Thanks, everyone, for asking questions and for all of you for being on the panel. All right.